Hey, welcome back to another episode of Collector's Quest. I'm Tyler here with Johnny. Johnny, what's going on? Don't talk to me about Magic the Gathering.
I'm not going to talk to you about Magic the Gathering, even though Cube is having a renaissance, and it's a great time to watch Magic the Gathering if you can't play it, if you care about such things. Actually, if you don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, it's horrible to watch. Don't do that. So, Tyler, just having a weekend, fucked up shoulder, just hanging out. What are you up to? Anything exciting? I've got nothing really going on.
I don't know. I cracked 100 hours in Baldur's Gate 3, which is a very lot for a modern game for me specifically.
That is a lot. You and Ada going at it?
It's a good game. I think we both definitively agree it is not as good as Divinity Original Sin 2, but that might just be some of the D&D-ness about it. But I also figured out a big reason that it's not as good is the freaking quest markers, man. And it always comes down to the freaking quest markers because we don't have to pay attention to literally anything. Like, yes, we could, in a theoretical sense, if we cared to look at the 400 different books in the game and read them. I realized they're like 2 pages long. We could read the 400 books in the game, but we don't have to. We open them up, we double click them to open them up, press escape to close them, and if it had a quest, something will pop up. And if it didn't have a quest, it's like, all right, it's just some fucking lore. So that's the kind of thing I do in a game with quest markers. And it's the same thing with like Skyrim. Like, do you read the fucking quest text of every fucking Skyrim quest you take? No, you're like, all right, give me a quest. All right, I gotta go to this arrow. And I hate it. And we'll talk about it because I think there's a really important game that ruined gaming for us that we're going to talk about today.
Well, we get to talk about video game dialogue too later because it's majestic and, beautiful, always well written and never terrible.
People always say, maybe they don't say that anymore, but they used to say like Hollywood movie quality story. And I think that's the thing people said with the GTA games a lot. And you're comparing it to like Fable or like some stupid bullshit video game where the dialogue was written by video game people. And like maybe they got like some real writers, but take any dialogue out of like a good game. And like the one exception is like maybe like The Last of Us 2 where people talk like people. Take a dialogue tree out of Baldur's Gate 3 and compare it. Open up Lord of the Rings and compare the two side by side and tell me fucking Baldur's Gate 3 has a quote unquote amazing story compared to like all-time great fiction. It doesn't. It's good. It has a world that is built, but it's still a video game where you go up to someone and they will tell you like, hello, person I've just met. Here is my immediate problem. It's the only thing on my mind right now, and I'm going to tell it to you, a stranger, because you just talked to me. And I have a companion in Baldur's Gate 3. Literally, every single time I talk to her, the only thing she wants to talk about is the next thing on her like little side quest thing. Like first we had to find one doodad, now we have to go find her parents. And every time I talk to her, that's the only thing she will ever talk about. And it's not great. This isn't great story. Video games are a bad storytelling medium, Johnny. And that's what we're starting this episode with.
NPC life. Let's do it.
We're going to be TikTok NPCs? What do you mean?
Yeah. No, the actual NPCs. That's why there's a meme about it because NPCs are so bad to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Those memes where people act like, characters from Oblivion where like they're not reacting to the world around them. They're walking into walls while they're talking to you. It zooms in a weird way. Yeah, that's video game. That is how video games work. It will never be as good as a Hollywood movie where they have literally every frame is precisely edited and shot and put in the movie for a specific reason. They make those like Avengers movies. Those Avengers movies are like 4.5 hours long, and then they cut them down to the best bits, so it is only like the best thing you are seeing on the screen at all times. That is never video games. They will never edit video games because video games are so long and expensive to make. So even when stuff isn't great, you know what? But it makes our video game 60 hours, so we got to keep that in.
It really is quantity over quality, for sure. It's a different medium. It's not exactly the same. So it doesn't line up. So, the comparisons are not always apt.
I don't know how we got on this topic, but I hate video game stories, Johnny.
I prompted you so we could get our 10 minutes of bullshit out of the way, even though it's only like 5, and then we can get into this episode. We trashed some modern games on the last episode, Tyler. Right? Like we kind of the whole theory of modern collectability, we took a kind of a dump on it. Yeah, fair to say?
Johnny, what was the last episode?
Oh gosh, it was the limited run episode.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah, stuff like that, yes.
Yes, limited collectability, whether it's, like I said, I always use limited run as a proxy, but there's plenty of companies that do this. So now I wanted to maybe switch gears just a little, because there are games that have come out in the last, say, 24 years that are worth collecting, that you won't ever mind having in your collection. Will they be expensive? Will they ever be considered rare? Probably not, but there are things that are worthy of your shelf space. And I wanted to talk about some of those today. So maybe 20 games that you could put on your shelf in 2024.
That you would never regret owning.
Yes.
Unlike, let me go look at a game that I regret. I bet I could look around my room that I'm in and find a game I regret owning. What is that?
Lots of them.
Johnny, I have it on the top shelf. This isn't a big regret, but it's the dumbest game I could see in my line of sight. I have a sealed Stargate for the Sega Genesis. I don't know why. It's a childhood game of mine. I played a lot of Stargate. You know what? I probably don't need that sealed Stargate. It wasn't like a great childhood, like Blaster Master 2, really great childhood game. Stargate, not a great childhood game for me.
No,
I'm going to call that one a regret. Didn't need to buy that. I could probably find 500 games like that I don't need in my collection and just get like thousands of dollars back into my bank account if I just never bought them to begin with.
Well, you're talking to the guy who just bought Babar, so...
I mean, you're in the Babar club now. Babar and GBA. For everyone who doesn't know the reference, he's talking about Babar for GBA. Canadian exclusive, probably a Quebec exclusive because it's a French and English release.
It's true.
Wow.
We got a lot of junk, and in this day and age, since like early 2000s, the amount of video games has not decreased. They just make more and more and more. So there's so much more trash to buy. And then all the variants that come out, greatest hits, game of the years, DLC patched versions. There's so much out there, Tyler. So many variants. It's insane. So yeah, let's talk about some of the good stuff today, because we are often not optimistic about the world of modern games. We do have favorites that we've mentioned before on the show, and they may be showing up here again, but let's just give, like I said, that kind of a brief rundown, some collectible facts about these games you might not regret owning. You won't. In fact, I'll just say it. You won't regret owning this. This harkens back to, when Tyler and I were first doing the show and he didn't have a Super Mario Brothers in box, it was like, what are you doing? Why don't you own a Super Mario Brothers? And it's always made me think about that. And then all these people who didn't own these games, and then, WATA came in and did all the things it did, and sealed games went crazy, and all these basic games that you knew you were going to love, and people went, oh shit, I don't own that. Why don't I own that? And I'm not saying that's not going to happen with these games. There's too many produced to have that same kind of effect. But there is this same thing where you're like, you don't need someone to put a gun to your head and say, I'm going to raise the price 400%. Go get the good stuff is all I'm saying. So that's what we're doing.
I mean, I like talking about this stuff because I do like pushing back against the sense that video game collecting is a hard or increasingly hard hobby. The resellers are ruining it, and Phoenix Resale is out there and he's scooping up all the good games and marking them up on his Amazon store. And there are so many games that will, I think, never be worth anything. And they're great games. It's just that there's so many produced that, and I realize you could say this about certain trading cards and certain comics, that there's just too many out there. You look at the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. If you look on the time scale of when Atari popped off, when GameCube popped off, when NES popped off, the PlayStation 2 time should be now, or we should already have even passed the peak of PlayStation 2. But the most common popular PlayStation 2 games are still all $15. They are it's never going to be, there is such a critical mass of demand for complete in box PlayStation 2 games that you're going to have to worry about paying $200 for a God of War like you have to pay $200 for a Super Mario Brothers now. It's never, I think it's never going to happen. Not that it's going to happen in the future, like somehow these are going to be lost. I think it's never going to happen, similar to like DVD movies.
The other thing is, when we got into collecting, Tyler, and we've both been at it for a long time, we didn't go, what's expensive? I need to make sure I own those. You just said, like, I just want to own some good games. I want to own these games I played as a kid and I loved. Like, and then it's like, oh, there was some other good games I never got. Let me go get those. You didn't make it a value proposition until you became an insane collector. And then you and I were both like, well, what are the underrated rares that aren't being talked about? These R8s are still $15. Let's go buy those. Like, before we got to that point, you just looked at nostalgic games and good games, and yeah, we get to capture some of that here.
I mean, collecting was literally a value proposition. That's why I started collecting, was because I thought virtual console games were overpriced at $5 each.
Well,
and I think that's like, what a 15-year-old brain to think that $5 is overpriced. I love that. That's why I started collecting, because $5 is too much for me.
I want you to know how much money that cost you. Like,
yeah, right. And that like ruined my life.
Yeah, what a bad financial decision. And all the time. And now you're on a podcast about it. You fucked up. Oh, man, what a mistake.
Oh, I could be playing Pal World with all my friends right now.
You could be. You could just be bitching about games just like every other person. You could be on Reddit, happy as a clam, not even understanding anything in the world. You could be one of those people.
But now I'm going to bitch about games here with you, Johnny. No, we talk about good stuff. Johnny, let's talk about Halo.
Okay.
We did this semi-chronologically, then gave up. Whatever, we're starting with Halo. I don't know if either of us love Halo. Do you love Halo, Johnny?
I don't love Halo. I played it. I think it's fun. I think it is an important franchise that did a lot for gaming, especially for console gaming. So worthy of being on the list.
Johnny, it brought good auto aim to consoles because analog sticks are a bad way to play first-person shooters. You want to make this whole thing a PC versus console fight?
Not really.
Okay. John, I don't know how much we have to say about Halo. What is it? It's like $10 for like a crappy Game of the Year version. Maybe like $15 if you want the black label original print. So there are a lot of different Game of the Year and not for resale pack-ins. So just get the one that doesn't have all the logos on the box. You'll still find one for $10. There are so many copies of Halo. Has Halo fallen off, Johnny? I don't keep up with the kids enough.
Well, like, fallen off in one sense. Like, how hot it is as a collectible, I think, has fallen off a little bit, but I don't think Halo itself has fallen off as, like, a franchise. I mean, maybe.
Halo 2 came out, and it was like Star Wars Episode 1. Like, people were lined up around the block to go get their Halo 2s. And now I feel like Halo Infinite, I realize, like, great review scores, people love it. But it's just, it's a free to play, multiplayer FPS, and I don't see like the mind share for it like I'd see in like a Fortnite or Roblox. Yes, I'm gonna make a Roblox reference.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's super relevant.
Super relevant. It's like tens of billions of dollars game. It's like one of the biggest games ever monetarily.
Yeah, get your Roblox gift cards and save them.
There are, all right, so 24-hour peak of Halo Infinite is 7,500 people. That doesn't seem... That's the Steam charts. Of course, let's compare it to Pal World, because that's a fair comparison, right? Nope. 2,100,000 people. What are we doing? Pal World, it seems like 100 times more popular than Halo Infinite.
Well, go find a retail copy of Pal World that you can get graded and make sure you get a 10.
So, I mean, like, all right, so on day one of Halo Infinite, like, literally the most they ever had was 147,000 active players. And that's still 20 times worse than Pal World.
Yeah.
15 times. Did Halo fall off, John? I'm asking.
Yeah, I think in the mind share of the world, probably. Like, it's never going to be what it was at its peak, which was, like, news articles on basic news channels. Like, we're never going back there again.
So, I mean, I think Halo, I mean, it's obviously always important. Not only did it was it a revolutionary FPS for consoles, similar to almost like a GoldenEye, but I mean, it's the game that launched the Xbox. And the funny thing is, like, Xbox is completely falling off now too. Not that Halo is completely falling off, but like Xbox executives are like, yeah, Xbox, we kind of fucked up this generation, and now they're moving. Now there's all these headlines about how they're moving to all digital, and everyone's gonna hate it.
Yeah, I'm curious what the state of Xbox will be in 5 years.
That's so interesting to me because PlayStation, it feels like it's guaranteed to be this mainstay of video gaming. Like, what if, like, the next Xbox is the last Xbox, and Xbox was just the thing that was, like, around for 20, 25 years? Like, does the collectability of Xbox in general, I mean, already the collectability of Xbox in general is not very high. People don't really love collecting Xbox games.
I'm curious if we will go through a point where Xbox has to rebrand itself as just Microsoft Games, and like once they go completely digital to keep people aware of it.
The Xbox brand is too valuable. I don't think they can rebrand. I think it's just going to be Xbox. If they do that, it's going to be Xbox Game Pass as the brand, but the hardware isn't what's going to matter. It's going to be that you have access to Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, well, I just, at some point, it's not even going to matter that it's a console. It's just going to be like another box like Apple TV that you sit in front of your TV and like, oh yeah, and this thing also like plays your games from the cloud. And here you watch your movies on it. I mean, that's already what they're trying to do. But the minute they remove that disk drive, it's not, and like, once it becomes cloud computing, it's just going to get small and going to feel very insignificant. Part of what makes consoles feel like something is their girthiness. They're just like, they have some size to them. You're like, oh, this is like a thing. But the minute like they start to shrink, like, I think that creates some, people associate size with quality for some reason. It's not a fair comparison, but I
mean, Switch is a pretty small console, but it's also a low quality console. So
I'm just saying, like, people, like, I just think it'll start to diminish in people's minds. I'm not sure that Xbox is super long for the world. We'll see.
All right. You know what? Halo, we didn't put any on this list, but Halo reminds me-ish of Half-Life. Probably not as much, because both Half-Life and Half-Life 2 were, like, absolute PC gaming phenomenons, and both very important historically in the timeline of PC games. And the popularity of the Half-Life franchise, way more than Halo, has just completely fallen off because the only thing we've had in the past however many years is a freaking VR game. And I don't care if it's literally the best VR game that's ever been made. Half-Life Alyx is not Half-Life 3, and Half-Life 3 at this point cannot push the FPS genre far enough ahead that it could ever be as important as Half-Life or Half-Life 2. And the fact that Valve has pivoted completely over to, making 30% over every PC game that ever gets sold, it makes a lot more sense, but it also feels like they've squandered the popularity of Half-Life, and I feel like that makes Half-Life less collectible. Like, it doesn't. Half-Life is still always, like, going to be a top-tier PC game, but how many people can I talk to someone in Gen Z about Half-Life? Does anyone like care about Half-Life 1? It's like, oh, dude, let me tell you about how this, like, you all these games have stories now, and they're all about interactive storytelling. Let me tell you about, like, the landmark game that really blended storytelling and gameplay into one thing and kind of changed the world. And they'll be like, Half-Life, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not Halo.
Do you have a minute to talk about Black Mesa?
Can we talk about Jetpack Joyride? Like the real start of video games?
No, we can't. Sorry.
All right, Johnny. There is also this Half-Life not for resale. We gotta quicken up the pace of this episode, but there is this Half-Life not for resale release that sealed always goes for crazy money. I didn't check out what the latest one sold for. I'm looking it up right now. I'm gonna guess $10,000
for Half-Life.
Halo not for resale.
You said Half-Life. Yeah. I'm like, what are we talking about?
So apparently, like, the dev team got copies of this Halo not for resale. It's the regular Black Label version of the game, but it has a green not for resale banner at the bottom. but it doesn't have like Game of the Year text or anything. It just says not for resale. So apparently the dev team got these, but it was also sold at the Microsoft store at the time of Halo's release. But also there was an Xbox in Canada, the Adrenaline pack, that came with a pack-in that is, it looks the exact same. It has the same exact insert. So Dan Gomez's of the world, like the real hardcore Xbox people, can probably tell the difference, because Dan had me hold my copy of Halo up to a light, my not for resale copy, up to a light, and he told me like, oh yeah, you got a Canadian version. And yeah, because I bought mine from Canada for $20, not $7,000. So there might be a way to tell, but the insert, as far as I know, is the exact same between the hot development version and the Canadian pack-in version. So that's one of the things I think, like, paying $9,000 for that is ridiculous, especially if you can't like 100% confirm that it is like owned by someone on the dev team and it wasn't just someone found this pack-in copy of Halo in Canada.
Yikes.
Thumbs down to the Halo not for resale. But go get one for $25 in Canada, maybe.
And don't ever buy a Game of the Year edition of this. Just don't.
Yeah.
It's too many.
Johnny, I was thinking of my top 20 games. I think I'm putting Diablo 2 in my top 20 games from the 2000s you would never regret buying. And I don't think it's because Diablo 2 is the timeless best action RPG of all time, because I think in this modern era, it has finally been surpassed. I think it took a very long time, but I think a few years ago, we're finally starting to get action RPGs that are genuinely better than Diablo 2, when we just weren't for a very long time. But I think the Diablo franchise is always going to be what action RPGs are benchmarked against, and there's always going to be the weird complainy people like me, hey, I'm here, right here, who complain about various aspects of Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, but then everyone's like, oh, but Diablo 2, my nostalgia glasses are on, and Diablo 2 is the perfect video game. And so it's always going to be this kind of paragon of the ARPG genre. And Johnny, a big box of Diablo 2, this game sold so many copies. I personally, just for like mule accounts, I've probably bought like 7 or 8 copies of Diablo 2 in my lifetime. And I know other people have bought multiple copies. But just a big box copy of this game, iconic action RPG of all time, is like $25. For like a nice big box. That's how many copies there are. How would you ever regret buying a Diablo 2 like that, Johnny?
I don't know.
Perfect game.
It just seems pretty cost effective.
And then there's also, if you want the exciting version, which you should, because it's Diablo 2, I think this is, I mean, this isn't like a most rare, expensive PC big box, but I think it is like an iconic big box PC game to have on your shelf if you're like a PC collector. The Diablo 2 Collector's Edition. It is a very big box. It is both taller and wider than a normal box. It comes in like this. It has like gold fringes. It looks like a very fancy version. It's like $200 or $300, and it was limited to 70,000, Johnny.
Oh, only 70,000.
Only 70,000. More than many games sell at all. And it actually, the thing that makes it limited edition, it comes with like Dungeons and Dragons supplements. So it comes with a set of 7 dice and like a Dungeon Master screen and like a player's handbook for a Diablo 2 D&D campaign. Very strange. They're just like, I don't know, these people are nerds. They're like playing a dungeon crawler, right? They want this Dungeons and Dragons stuff in their game. Cool. You know what? Way better than stickers. I'll take that over stickers. Give me like Dungeons and Dragons rules for the game in my collector's edition. Yeah, all right. That's something.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about it's either a Swiss or a German copy, the one that has the watch and the pins bundled with it?
No. There's all this. There's a ton of other Diablo 2 crap. Forget all the other crap. But yeah, they have different versions bundled with different crap. No. I want
It's like this game was very popular, and they made a bunch of different copies to sell it.
They sure did. I mean, there's like the battle chest. There's small box versions. There's a lot of different Diablo 2s. I would let's just get a standard big box. And so with all of these Blizzard games, they put stickers on the retail copies when they hit certain sales milestones. So you'll see the 7 million seller, 8 million seller, 9 million seller, and they just keep incrementing the stickers. I would just get a nice clean box with no sticker on it.
Boring.
Yeah. Also, in relation to that selling, it's being limited to 70,000. I remember going to Best Buy. I think it was the release of Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 and the limited edition. Me and my friends, I had 2 friends, all 3 of us went to Best Buy, and we were so excited to get the limited edition of Command and Conquer Red Alert 3, which was limited to like 30,000 or something. And we're like, oh my God, I can't believe they have it. There's only 30,000 copies of this version of Command and Conquer Red Alert 3, which, Johnny, I haven't looked it up. I'm just going to guess right here. You can probably get that.
I'm just going to say there was probably only 10,000 people that wanted it.
Maybe. I don't know. I hear Dennis Kahn is a big Command and Conquer guy of founding a lot of games fame, so he might have bought a few.
You can't say his name. We just lost 7 viewers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
What a scam.
There you go.
Okay.
Bringing it back.
All right, Johnny, what else we got? Modern. Give me some cool modern games.
Well, I was just gonna say you like fine, get the big box for 25, but I do like the collector's edition of this game.
I think the collector's edition is really good, especially compared to there are. You see, this isn't fair because there are I would call them crappy modern collector's editions in the same price range, but Diablo 2 almost falls into that category of crappy things. All right, it comes with some paper supplements and some dice, whatever.
A D&D module. It's hey nerds. It's just the hey nerd thing. It's so good. Come on.
For me, it's just that the game is so iconic that I just want the best version. And for once, I think the collector's version of this is actually the best version.
Yep, I agree. We don't advocate many collector's editions, but we're going to on this. I'm going to advocate for another one later on.
All right.
Okay. Let's talk about another one that's hard to talk about. This is tough, Tyler, because we have to narrow it down to one, but we have 3 games here, and it's hard to do that. Look, there's going to be a lot of games like this on this list where you're like, well, there's sequels and you could choose that. True, but we're going to try and narrow it down. Call of Duty, Tyler, how do we do this? Because I said Modern Warfare 2.
I don't think Modern Warfare 2. I think it's probably Call of Duty 4 for me. I think the ones you could choose from are probably Call of Duty 4, and Modern Warfare 2. One kind of only gets the credit for being the first Call of Duty game. I realize Call of Duty is still a great game, but it came out in 2003, and we're talking the Medal of Honor games and all these World War II shooters were coming out at the same time. It was another good one of those, and kind of the same thing with Call of Duty 2. And the reason 4 is so important is that it really set the benchmark for modern shooters of the era, for both not being another stupid World War II shooter and the multiplayer progression system that I'm pretty sure we still see in multiplayer shooters today, or at least a version of that. Call of Duty 4 just seems like a super important game. I wrote down, you go a year or 2 before Call of Duty 4 and look at multiplayer shooters. And you're looking at Day of Defeat Source and Quake 4, Perfect Dark Zero, the multiplayer. I mean, those aren't the most popular games, but you look at the most popular games, it's Counter-Strike, Unreal Tournament 2004, and Call of Duty 4 is a completely different paradigm than jumping on a server and just hanging out and shooting dudes and having 5-minute rounds. There's a progression system to it that people really, really liked. Okay.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will say that Modern Warfare 2 feels like the most popular of the bunch and the one that drew in. I think the other Call of Duty games got people who were already into FPSs, right? And I think somehow Modern Warfare 2 went out and collected people who were on the fringes and then not involved in FPSs at all and brought them in.
I mean, all of these were way more popular than the last. I mean, Call of Duty was still a popular game. I think it was 4 or 5 million that sold, and then Call of Duty 2 was a couple million more than that, and then Call of Duty 4 sold double what Call of Duty 2 did. But I mean, I would believe, I don't know the Modern Warfare 2 numbers, but I would believe that Modern Warfare 2 sold double what Call of Duty 4 did.
I mean, to be fair, they're the Maddens of first-person shooters. They sell a lot, and they're released on that same kind of schedule. I think maybe for this one, pick the one you like best and put it on your shelf.
I realize it's fun to hate Call of Duty, but I don't want to regress. I don't want to call it Madden. I feel that is being.
I meant
that is regressing it too much. Because like
No,
Call of Duty
it's-
4 is a genuinely important game, and Modern Warfare 2 is an important game just in terms of how popular it is.
Madden's an important game too. I'm saying
there-
like
so
within the
thing with Madden
release
is, like,
schedule.
you maybe you could say Madden 2004 is important for so and so reason, but like you couldn't get 100 people in a room to write down the best Madden game, and you wouldn't see like this chart where like everyone's choosing Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Like everyone probably has their pet favorite Madden game for whatever small little reason. But call me wrong. Tell me that Madden 2005, the first version with Xbox Live support, that was like a breakout version. That was like the game. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know enough about Madden, I guess.
No, but they are released on a yearly schedule, and they do suffer the same sorts of criticisms. And like maybe these early ones, but like as we go on, are we really talking about how important each Call of Duty is? No, each one. That's what it happens with game franchises that are long running. There are the important ones, and then the ones that are just laying on the corpses of all those that came before.
Madden. All right. See, again, I don't know enough about Madden. Maybe there are like some real landmark change to Madden, but every Madden is the incremental update. And with Call of Duty, at least in this early era, you had Infinity Ward came out with like the big like upgrade version, and then you had Treyarch doing like the off-year version. It's like, okay, let's take what Infinity Ward did and switch it up a little, and we'll make we'll like fart out a game on the off-year kind of deal. And no offense to the Treyarch games, but no one's remembering Call of Duty 3 in the same way they remember Call of Duty 4.
No,
World of War, the zombies mode. That's iconic. You guys aren't talking about zombies. I only play Call of Duty for zombies.
there are those people. It's a mode I never got into at all. But whatever. And you would think I should be the target audience, but didn't happen. Anyways, what else do we have to say about this? If you're buying any of these, is there a version that's better if you do suffer the same nostalgia-itis I do and want to buy Modern Warfare 2?
So the Xbox 360 version has the most exciting version of any of these is probably the Xbox 360 first print of Modern Warfare 2, because it comes with got to be a top 5 type of variant for me. It comes with an errata insert. I love it. Oh, they just put a little freaking index card in there apologizing for something, and I love when games do that. It's so dumb and pointless, maybe a legal thing, but the amount of system link players they printed on the back that it supported like double as many players as it did. So it said like 16 when it only supports 8 or something like that. And there's just like this little tiny white sheet of paper in the first prints of Modern Warfare 2. So when I was looking for this, there are so many copies of Modern Warfare 2 on eBay. Just go through 700 listings and hopefully you could find one for literally $8, because I don't know, that's what I did. I imagine they're out there.
Yep. And this is in the era of like, I think this had like 3 main releases when it came out too. There was like the special edition and then like the super special edition. Like, was this the one that came with the night vision goggles?
I think so. Man, I am so not into those RC cars and night vision goggles. But yes, that stuff exists.
Yeah, so those I don't recommend that for these. The like special edition one I think is just a steel book, and then the super special edition or whatever is the one that came with more stuff. Anyways, that stuff's junk. We don't need it. Moving on. All right, here's another one we can fight about, Tyler. And because I plead ignorance here because I fell off this franchise hard, and I don't know which version to pick, but I know I would be remiss to leave it off the list. Metal Gear Solid, fill in the blank. 2, 4, 3, what are we doing?
I mean, it's a game from 1998. So I don't understand why you put this on the list if you're not excited about it, because we're talking about 20 games that no one will ever regret buying, and you already sound like, Metal Gear Solid 2, who cares?
I mean, I own it. I own it.
I mean, who doesn't own it? I mean, okay. I mean, I'm sure there's some people listening who don't own Metal Gear Solid 2, but if you have collected PlayStation 2 games, like if you lived through the PlayStation 2 era, you probably just have a version of Metal Gear Solid 2 kicking around, because it was $3 at GameStop, and you're just like, oh, all right. I guess I could buy that.
Yeah, I mean, but it does get it gets constant adulation, right? Like people love these games. Just because I don't love something doesn't mean it's bad and it shouldn't be collected. I have to separate myself a little bit from that, and I know you love them, so you talk to me. Talk to me about, is it because you weren't sure if it should be 2. I like looked at some stuff and it said 2. There were some people leaning 3, but you have. What, you said it could even be 4 as long as you don't pick 5, and 5 is still good. So what is your pick?
I mean, my pick is Metal Gear Solid 4 because that's the one that really caps off the story until, Metal Gear Solid 5 had more story. But I think most people wouldn't pick 2 if you're going to pick 1, if you're going to pick one Metal Gear Solid game, because you play as Raiden, and it is... All the Metal Gear Solid games are silly. Metal Gear Solid 2 feels particularly silly and over the top. It's what... Actually, I have to go and check my Metal Gear Solid lore, but it might be what the game that introduced the concept of the Patriots and Snake having a clone. There's so much bullshit, and there's Fat Man on rollerblades. There's so much bullshit in the Metal Gear Solid games, Johnny.
But remember, these games are just like movies, and they have wonderful dialogue. And it's like playing a movie, right?
I think the dumbness of Metal Gear Solid is a work of art that is worthy of the video game medium, Johnny.
I'm not saying it isn't, but I really like Metal Gear. I like Snake's Revenge. I like Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. We got here and I was just like, this is too much. You guys are doing too much. And I'm not here with you. I'm not on this train. And then I tried to play 4. Is it 4 that came out on the PS3?
Yeah. It's the one where you had to install it for 20 minutes while watching
so long. And I was just like, nope, I hate this.
You hate how long the game was or how long the install was?
No, the cutscenes, like when you're just trying to play.
Dude! I mean, see, this is the thing where like video game dialogue trees they're strictly worse than just like a movie, but so much of Metal Gear Solid is literally just a movie, so then it becomes good again because it's like, oh, it's just imitating a better medium, film.
Yep. No.
There's some long ass cutscenes, but whatever. People who play Final Fantasy games, those have long ass cutscenes.
No, not in the same way. I was playing with a friend. There's like, back in the day when you could sit on the couch and watch your friend play a game. So he came over, we were hanging out, he brought it, and I'm like, all right, let's check it out. And he was playing, and I just, I don't sleep much. And that game put me right to sleep. I was just falling asleep on the couch. I'm like, we have to do something else, anything else. This game is boring the shit out of me. Sorry,
my college
Metal Gear
roommates
fans.
All played through Metal Gear Solid 4 the first time. We all cried during the last cutscene, Johnny. Just bros being bros.
All right.
Anyway, I think if you're going to pick one, which I don't think you need to, because these games are all going to be so cheap, but I think Metal Gear Solid 3 has this sort of best game of all time clout that maybe the others don't have as much. Metal Gear Solid 4 is such a cap to the Metal Gear Solid story. Like, I cannot imagine going in with no knowledge of Metal Gear Solid and trying to understand what the fuck is happening in Metal Gear Solid 4. Because even if you know anything about Metal Gear Solid, you still don't understand what the fuck is happening in Metal Gear Solid 4. But I think Metal Gear Solid 3, it has iconic moments, like iconic bosses like the end where people you can set your PlayStation 2 time to kill him, and you got the ladder that goes while it plays the Snake Eater song. And it is like one of the most graphically impressive PlayStation 2 games. And I think it's just one of those games that, because it is one of the best games on one of the best consoles, has a little bit more staying power than the other ones.
Okay. You can also get the limited edition of that if you want. You can spend like $200 on that.
Is there a limited edition, or is that Subsistence? Because is that a later release?
Yeah, it is. It's Subsistence. It's still 3 though, right?
I mean, sure, it's still cool. Also, there's a Japanese, so the Japanese Metal Gear Solid games all have the premium pack, and I think I've talked about this before, but Metal Gear Solid 3, the big box collector's edition Japanese version, is so freaking cheap. It's like $45. I think I got one sealed for like $70. It is like so worthless, and it is one of these games that we're talking about. I was like, oh, 20 games you'll never regret owning. So I don't know, maybe also look into the Japanese version of this. I think those big boxes are pretty cool.
Okay.
As much as I hate big boxes.
Agree. Yeah. Do it. All right. Tyler, let's dwell into the world of PCs. And I can actually chime in on this one weirdly because, hey, who didn't play World of Warcraft on the PC at some point?
I only played the free trial.
Did you not? You never lost life to this game?
I was in the RuneScape world. I was playing all sorts of weird games. Like I was probably playing Entropia Universe, which is an MMO that uses its currency is like US dollars basically. Whoa, it's don't look into Entropia Universe. But yeah, I was playing like Lineage 2 and Lord of the Rings Online. I would do anything except pay a monthly fee. So I just didn't play the best MMO. I played all the shittier MMOs.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks. So here's the thing. I'm curious how many people like who actually played WoW think about it as a collectible object rather than just this time wasting thing that they did with their life for just days and days of their life on end. Like, do they have nostalgia? Are people going back and picking up the first prints of that? And by the way, the first retail print has Windows 98 in the system requirements.
And that's not of the collector's edition. That's just the regular small box.
Just the regular small box. You can find these pretty cheap, right? Like if you want the WoW, if you want just the small box stuff, you can go get all the WoW and all the expansions for cheap. But
I mean, because they're worthless.
Yeah, because millions and millions of copies sold.
But like, do you even need a copy of World of Warcraft to play it, or do you just pay the monthly fee?
You just pay the monthly fee and download it from Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
Or that's how you used to do it. But I have all my boxes. But there is a part of WoW that is collectible, and it's wild. And it was like always an event when they came out, and this is something that is kind of a Blizzard thing to an extent, but the original WoW. Talk to me about the collector's edition of WoW.
I mean, Johnny, it's a big box collector's edition of WoW. It's World of Warcraft in like an 18 by 18 inch box. It's like as big as a record, and every expansion they put out this same size box. And I feel like it almost exists outside the realm of big box PC collecting, because I have to imagine that a good amount of people buying this don't collect PC games. They're not even PC like gamers in a traditional sense. They're just like WoW guys who just like,
this is their trophy.
I just spend 100% of my gaming time on WoW. There's some really interesting charts. There's some, I looked up a study before this episode on like WoW demographics. And for people like 41 to like 60, that demographic, there's a big block of those where just 100% of their gaming time is spent on WoW. And then you look at like Gen Z and like WoW players, like 50% of their gaming time is WoW. There's like a bunch of people in like Gen X who just like, if they play WoW, it's like the only game they play. And those would be the people spending $400 on a limited edition big box of it, right?
I mean, you can buy WoW Vanilla is still $400 for the collector's edition.
That's the one. So I think all of the other ones are way less rare, or at least way less desirable. But the vanilla one is still pretty expensive and exciting, especially sealed. Sealed, it goes for like thousands of dollars. Like I think $5,000 and up for a nice one, which for a PC game is nuts. Like PC doesn't have like these Super Mario Brothers titles, and like WoW, like a sealed World of Warcraft collector's edition is not in the same universe as a like sealed early print Super Mario Brothers or anything. So to see it go for like $5,000 is still pretty nuts.
It is kind of wild, but yeah, these sealed copies of expansions are still like over $300 too. So,
but that's just that's like the complete in box price of the vanilla version.
Of vanilla. Yeah. Vanilla. I think on the low end, you can kind of get around $300, but like if you want like Wrath of the Lich King or whatever, you can get that for like $315 sealed.
And I realized that WoW was an instant phenomenon, but the people buying the collector's edition were like day one into it. And WoW like snowballed into popularity even after that. So then when Burning Crusade came out, like everyone bought the collector's edition of Burning Crusade.
Yeah, and there's 15th anniversary editions and stuff. There's lots of editions and lots of expansions. What if you're going to buy one, if this is your thing, do you think the vanilla edition is the one to buy?
No, I think I think maybe similar to Diablo Collector's Edition, WoW Collector's Edition is kind of this, the same company, it's Blizzard, but it's kind of this iconic PC big box thing where like people see WoW Collector's Edition, and if they're PC people, they know what that is. And even PC people, I don't think, no one looks at the WoW small box and they're like, wow, you got the first print with the Windows 98 system requirements. No one looks at that and they're like, wow, you did it. You're the man. And I mean, don't collect for other people. I think that's cool. That's a new thing that some people in the sealed world care about now. But if I was to pick one, I think the WoW Collector's Edition. But Johnny, there's a secret that I didn't put into the episode doc.
Okay.
That I think is maybe the actual best thing to own for World of Warcraft collectors. It's the actual WoW server blades.
Yeah.
They sold them twice. So there was a 15-year anniversary one, and then there was another one, I think, that was sold in a charity auction, but there's two different styles of them, and one of them is way more desirable, and I don't remember which one it is. Just looking at how many are available, there's a lot more 15-year anniversary ones, so I'm guessing the other one's the more desirable one. But basically, the actual servers that your specific shard of World of Warcraft ran on, they would decommission the servers and replace them with new hardware, and then they framed the servers in like this acrylic thing with a plaque on it. And like, I'm looking at one right now. It is the Executus server from November 2005 to like June 2010. And if I played on that specific server during that specific time frame, I think there's nothing better I could possibly own than the actual physical hardware that server was running on. That is just so cool.
It is pretty cool. If that was yours, if I agree with your premise. If that was your server, then yeah.
Yes. And so those are in the $2,000 to $3,000 range for the good ones, and then the 15th anniversary ones go cheaper. It looks like you can get them $500 to $1,000.
See, and as expensive as that is, if you spent that much of your life in it and that was like your thing, that doesn't seem crazy to me.
Yeah, if I'd played 5 years of World of Warcraft, I'm talking World of Warcraft hours, playing like 4 to 6 hours a day type stuff, yeah, absolutely, $3,000 would be like, dude, are you kidding? How much of my productivity did I lose just playing this game? And I would get to own the thing I was playing on now, and I'm like the only guy who can have that. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
The 15th anniversary ones, it doesn't tell you what actual server they were, so it's just like, fuck, who cares? It's just like some electronic components at that point. But the ones where they tell you like, oh, this was the Shattered Hand server for these exact dates. Also, you want to go make sure you get one from like November 2005 because you want those launch servers, Johnny. Anyway, this is less expensive than a sealed collector's edition, and I think these are so cool. I realize it's a manufactured collectible, but they took something real and made it a manufactured collectible, and I think this is more real than like a LeBron James jersey patch on a trading card, because this is like the actual fucking server. It's not like they give you a RAM chip from the server. It is the entire server. It's like 3 feet long.
Yeah.
I love these. If you don't know these exist, go spend $3,000 on one right now.
Yeah, you can go get the Black Dragonflight server blade right now, or BlackRock. They're on eBay. These are objectively neat.
There was a pretty affordable. So I considered buying one of these maybe 5 years ago. And I don't even play WoW. I just think they're such a good collectible. And there was a really affordable one that was a lot cheaper than all the other ones that sold recently, but it was for an Australian server. And I'm like, I don't want an Australian server. So that's the only reason I don't have one of these, Johnny.
Poor Australia.
I'm sorry, Australia. Shout out to Brickman who listens to this show. He's an Australian.
You do have to watch out though. Like Tyler said, make sure you're getting those release servers. You don't want one with the 2007 date on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love this. We're talking about server hardware. Like this is like a real collectible. Yes. Go get your 2005 WoW server blades.
I think these are cool. Like I spent enough time on WoW that if I would do it. If mine came up, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, here we go. I would put that there and I would just set it on the shelf and be like, yeah, that's it. That's my copy of WoW right there. And then like, it could be one of those things where, you know, after you die, someone walks in your room and go, what the fuck What the?
This is like your family looks at that and they're like, yeah, that's dumpster. Okay.
Yeah.
What else is going in the dumpster? Okay, here we go. Some old computer thing.
Is that actually metal? Oh, what are we even supposed to do with that?
They look at it and they're like, wow, he won like some award in World of Warcraft for playing the most that anyone in America has played, probably.
God, my dad was pathetic. Can you believe this shit? Ugh. Anyways, after that bout of sadness, let's move on to another game. Let's talk about another game let's talk about a game you really don't care about.
Johnny, I don't care about it.
God of War. Why don't you care about God of War? And I would just want you to know, like the listeners, I want you to know. Here's what Tyler said about this. Listen to the slander that he said about God of War. He said it's basically the Golden Axe of PlayStation 2.
When did I did not say that.
You
said
did
that
say
for
that.
me.
No, you said that.
I mean,
he's like, it's just a bullshit beat 'em up. It's basically like, I hate him. It's Golden Axe. I don't want this game.
Johnny, there's a game we both played that came out the same year. Well, technically, you played Ninja Gaiden Black. I played Ninja Gaiden, which came out in 2004, I think.
Now, I played Ninja Gaiden as well, and I also went back and played Black. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. So yeah, we played a game that came out a year before it that's better in every way, and I guess it did go somewhere because they did have a couple sequels for that. But God of War went a lot further, so I guess it is a lot more culturally relevant, especially now with Sony putting out all their banger exclusives and even porting them to PC. So God of War is everywhere right now. So unlike Halo, I think God of War has like continued cultural relevance up to this very moment.
I mean, they're still making big hits for it. It's been on all the consoles. Look, and boobs. It's like, and I'm not just talking about female boobs. Like, Kratos has his shirt off all the time. People are into this stuff. I can't help you about whether you like this type of gameplay or not. Yeah, it's butt mashy. Yes, quick time events, bullshit combos. Sure, all of that, but people like it. I played through the first couple. It was fine. I couldn't go further after 3. I was like, I don't really care about this. But it is a long-standing franchise, and I don't think you'll regret owning. I don't regret owning the first 3. And if you're going to pick one up, you might as well get the original. Might as well go grab God of War. It's like $15, and just know that it comes with a reg card. And we had some questions about whether there was the No Dolby Pro Logic 2 was the first print or not. I don't think we could decide. Did we say yes on that or no?
Yeah, so on the back of the case, on the bottom right, there's the DVD logo, and next to that is sometimes a Dolby Pro Logic logo. And I think the earliest releases don't have that Dolby logo, but there were like 7 people in the world who really cared about this for like 3 months in 2021. So if I'm wrong about that, I'll get yelled at.
Yeah, sorry. Anyways, $15. Go buy a copy. And then with the extra $10 you have because you didn't spend very much money, might as well grab God of War 2 while you're at it.
Yeah. And so God of War has a registration card. So like the thing is, when like we're talking about games that like I bet half the people listening to this podcast have, and it's like, go check your copy of God of War. This is like your moment. Go check your copy of God of War. Make sure it doesn't have like a GameStop sticker on it. Make sure it doesn't have like fading on the spine. Make sure it has the registration card. Like, yes, I've had a God of War. I've had a copy of God of War probably since like 2007. But when I bought that in 2007, did I care about the condition of my complete in box PlayStation 2 games? No. It probably has a GameStop sticker, a wrinkled spine, or like something is wrong with it. Because I just bought like whatever. I was just playing God of War. And like, you got to go back to these games that you've had for 15 years and realize like your standards have probably improved, and the price of this game is still so affordable, you might as well get like the absolute best condition one you can while it's literally the same price you paid for it 15 years ago.
100%. And that is going to be he said that for this, but that's pretty much true for this whole list. These are the games that exist right now that aren't that expensive, that if you're going to own it, you might as well own a nice one. Like, you're not going to regret owning it, but what you will regret is having a shitty version of it.
Or, yeah, like, God of War is going to be a $20 game forever. Like, okay, I could see a far-flung future where God of War is a completely iconic Sony franchise, and like what? God of War is going to be a $50 game, maybe in 2060. Like, you can get me. Maybe that will happen, but even if that even in terms of its non-relevance, I can maybe in some universe see a price increase or like a little bit more desirability for like the absolute mint ones that are 100% complete, no stickers, like perfect case, things like that.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to basically have the same conversation with you again now about our next game. Kingdom Hearts, Tyler, a game I know you don't care about.
I played through Kingdom Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Look, it's very popular and it has something very specific going for it. And you and I sometimes disagree with this on the show, but it has Disney characters in it. And the fact that this game even exists to me is still a marvel that it can even exist in the world. The licensing nightmare that it is. I think once all that like falls apart and like whatever those dates are and the series goes away, like it's never going to be that hard to get, but it's a game that they can't like reprint too often, like unless they keep renewing the licenses. With as weird as Disney and Sony are, like who knows how long that's going to be able to happen.
I mean, there are multiple Kingdom Hearts compilations that have all the games on it, or like some portion of all the games on it.
Yeah, but we're in the age of reprints. That's the other thing. As these games, look, these are all the best games. These games are all going to be reprinted into oblivion as we've reached the reprint era of games. So you can expect more of this. So please own the originals. But Kingdom Hearts is like $15. If you want to go spend more money and like have a big collector search, then get the one that is the Square Enix version. This is on it's a black label. Okay. There's the rare release. Don't have a greatest hits in your collection. You don't need it. It's a $15 game. Go get the nice version. Okay. Make sure it's 100% complete. Do yourself a favor and just own a nice version of this game.
Yeah, so every copy of this game, basically every Black Label copy, has the Squaresoft logo in the bottom right of the case. And then there's a very short period in between that version and the greatest hits version where they changed that logo to a Square Enix logo. This is such a dumb variant, like who cares? But it's like one of these things that people figured out and it got popular one day and people started talking about it and then it became like a more exciting thing.
Yeah, and now people on eBay
and now we mention it every time that we talk about it on Collector's Quest, Johnny.
Yeah, because if it has any collector thing attached to it, we try to talk about it. The other thing it has attached to it now is a higher price tag because people think that this matters. And like, sure, for me, like, yeah, if you really want to go that road, I would be more concerned with just having the nicest, completest copy of it as you can find. Or sealed, because there's a lot of them.
I don't know how much Kingdom Hearts matters. I think it matters, but it definitely doesn't matter as much as God of War. I bet there are people you could discuss every God of War game with, and like probably a decent amount of people. You could probably talk to a God of War fan about like the PSP game, and they're like, oh yeah, I played Chains of Sparta, whatever that game was called. But then, like, Kingdom Hearts, the only people who really cared enough to play all the freaking Kingdom Hearts games are, like, the weirdos. Like, the Kingdom Hearts people who draw fan art of Sora and the Keyblade. And, like, it's their profile picture on forums. And they're like, oh, yeah, 365 and a half days on GBA. Yeah, everyone knows the story in that. That was really important because that's when we learned about the Shadow Heart and how he's stealing all the darkness from the world to make everyone's hearts clouded with sadness. Like, we talked about, like, the relevance of Halo, and I think the relevance of Kingdom Hearts is, like, not even on the universe of, like, something like a Halo.
Okay. I think it's up there for discussion. I'll let listeners decide whether they think Kingdom Hearts belongs on this list or not. I think it's just such a unique compilation of licensing that there's just not going to be really something like this again. All
right. If I was going to pick another PS2 game, I would have put Shadow of the Colossus on the list. But that's, again, a game we talk about all the time and how important and amazing.
I put Shadow of the Colossus on, like, in my... Because we listed out some games, and I put that in my tier below. I love it. I love Ico as well, but I just don't think it carries the same weight. And I don't think... If you don't think that Kingdom Hearts is important, then Shadow of the Colossus can't even sit in its shadow.
Shadow of the Colossus is way more important than Kingdom Hearts. Oh, you want to have this fight? I think like Shadow of the Colossus is a game that like game historian people like would point to as like a really iconic games as art game.
Look,
like a really important and
I
really
agree, but
one.
I just think there's a legion of Disney adults that aren't are just going to be like, what the fuck is a Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah, because they're Disney adults.
Yeah, sure. Like, but they are Legion, and they're everywhere, and they're buying Kingdom Hearts. And
all right, we have talked about Kingdom Hearts
else.
enough on this podcast. It's a cheap game. I guess go get Kingdom Hearts, upgrade your copy. I don't even care. I used to care about the rare Square Enix version, and now it's like, all right, it's cool. It's fine.
It's fine. It is just fine. Anyways, well, let's get off of that. Let's go into the world of Nintendo, Tyler.
All right, I have also all of my picks in this show, Johnny, or in this episode. I've tried to avoid the Nintendo ones because I think you could at some point just say like buy every first party Nintendo game and you will never regret it.
I agree with that statement 100%.
Especially in this era. This is like the first, and like we're getting on a tangent here, but this is the first time I remember really first party Nintendo games dropping in price new is the Switch era. They are finally selling so many games that they will actually discount, like Breath of the Wild is not full price anymore. I think you could probably go on Amazon and get it for $40.
Which is crazy. But
I mean, I remember Nintendo never discounting games. And I could be wrong. That could be just anecdotal on my part, but
it sure felt like they never did. Or if they did, it was like such an anomaly, it would have made the news.
I mean, I remember going, like in the Wii U era, you go on eBay and they were selling like Mario Tennis, Mario Tennis Power Tour, and it was like full price in like the Wii U flopping era. It's like, what? Who is buying this Nintendo? What the fuck?
So right. I've got 3 games here in this era that these are all GameCube games. Tell me if we're wrong, because I did not put Pikmin on this list because you said you didn't think so with Pikmin and you wanted to fight me. I feel like Pikmin could have been here, but we have Super Smash Bros. Melee, Metroid Prime, and Twilight Princess. There's not, like, everybody knows what these games are. We don't need to say too much. I'll give it just a quick rundown. Look, Super Smash Bros. Like $65. Watch out for the dumb greatest hits version. Yes, you can look out on the back for the Dash Zeros and the Made in Japans if you really care, but really the most important thing I think is just to have a nice black label of this. Metroid Prime,
Hold on. No, Melee, there's also the bestseller label, and I don't care if you think like bestseller labels came out at launch too. Go check your copy of Melee. If it has the bestseller badge, go get a copy that doesn't have the bestseller badge, because you could probably swap it out and lose like $5 in the process, and you'll be happier with the version that doesn't have the bestseller badge.
True, and it's not that I say that they came out. We know that they came out at the same time. Doesn't mean they were printed at the same time, because that's not how printing works. But They definitely were on the floor at the same time. Anyways, agree. Get rid of your bestseller badges, or just have both, and be a weirdo variant collector. Anyways, that's it for Smash Bros. Melee. Metroid Prime has so many dumb variants, like. All the same caveats apply. It's a $30 game. You pick one if you want a variant that says, Kmart or Target on it. You want the Wavebird. You want a Nintendo Power. You want to get it as a combo because you're a super collector with Twilight Princess. Sure, go do whatever you want. Or Wind Waker, I should say. I said Twilight Princess, but Wind Waker. Go get it. Great. Fine. Do whatever you want.
I'm going to recommend the Made in Japan variant, Johnny.
Yeah, well, we just said that exists. If you want the first double with the Dash Zero, no Dash Ones, great, fine. But make sure you have a nice one. It's not that expensive. It's a $30 game. And
it's better than Super Metroid, which is crazy, right, guys? Isn't that crazy?
So you're just trying to start fights. I think Metroid Prime is great. Better than Super. It's still Metroid, but they are very different games. Music's great on both of them too. Now, I said this was a Wii game, but I said it was a GameCube game, but it's a Wii game. Twilight Princess is what I have here. But it did come out 3 days before on the Wii than it did on the GameCube. So technically it's a Wii game first, right?
Yeah. Which is fantastic. I love this because there's no ambiguity here. Like, they specifically, as a stupid marketing thing, released it on the Wii first. And they're like, yeah, fuck you if you still have a GameCube. Yeah, I guess we're going to still give you a good Zelda game. All right, fine. We'll give you, like, the 5th Zelda game on GameCube. I guess there wasn't enough love for Zelda on the GameCube.
Yeah. So, the other thing to know about this, if you care, is They switched Link's hands in this game. So this is actually the first version of the game where Link goes right-handed. And you're like, oh, well, GameCube he was left-handed. And Skyward Sword, though, he stays right-handed. And Breath of the Wild, he's right-handed. So Link becomes right-handed in this. If that matters to you, here's your fun, dumb collector's fact. Here's the other fun fact. If you want it on the GameCube, it's plus $100, you know? If you buy it on the Wii, the original version, it's sub 20. So.
I love calling the Wii the original version because it is so obviously a port from the GameCube version.
It's the original version.
Same thing with Breath of the Wild, which I think they released on Switch slightly before Wii U.
Yep, they sure did. Anyways, go get that right-handed Link for sub $20 on the Wii. Here's one for you to talk about now that we're in the Wii era, though.
Oh, Johnny, I think Peaceful in our Discord is playing through Twilight Princess right now and raving about how amazing it is. And he's like, "Whoa, why didn't I play this before?" Because this is like one of the only times, like, I don't know if this makes it significant because I think kind of every Zelda game you could point to and be like, "Oh, it's a Zelda game." But like they gave the stupid whining children exactly what they wanted. They didn't want any innovation. They didn't want anything exciting. They wanted to play Ocarina of Time again. And they just made Ocarina of Time again. There's no stupid art style. It's got a dark art style, just like everyone wanted for some reason. They want a stupid dark art style. They just made Ocarina of Time again.
It's great.
It's still amazing 10 out of 10 game.
I like it better than Ocarina. I know people are going to brain me for that, but not playing on the N64. Not playing on the N64 is a huge advantage. Love it. What a good game. What a good Zelda that is.
The motion controls in Twilight Princess aren't bad. I'm going to say even the motion controls are good.
Yep.
Right.
It sure is better than Skyward Sword. Whew, Skyward Sword. Ugh. Jesus.
Not on our list, sir. Not appearing on our list. You will regret buying Skyward Sword.
Probably will. Unless you get the gold Wiimote.
All right, Johnny, are we done? Yes, yeah. Those are all great GameCube games. I think that the GameCube Twilight Princess looks so good. It might just be the black case.
It does look better.
I know it's less common than the Wii version. Oh, it just looks so good. And I love GameCube because there's so many Zelda games on it. I just love having all the Zelda games on GameCube lined up on a shelf. So I'm going to say go get your GameCube Twilight Princess, Johnny.
Okay.
Spend that $100 plus.
All right. Well, let's talk about Wii Sports. One of the most important games ever made.
Johnny, this is one that really got me excited for the episode because I didn't know what I was going to talk about for like God of War and Kingdom Hearts. It's like, all right, go check your copies, make sure they're nice, make sure they got the registration cards, all that. Wii Sports, talk about a game that your copy is fucked up. Go look at your copy of Wii Sports. This is a cardboard sleeve game that came with a sticker touching the front and back of the case that most people ripped open, and it's white. So if you put it down on any surface, it picked up dirt, it picked up dust, and they yellow over time. If you go on eBay and search for Wii Sports, this game sold. It sold over like 100 million copies. It's like insane how many copies of Wii Sports.
It was packed in with the Wii.
Yeah, I mean, it was packed in with the Wii. Until like the very end. But out of all those copies, just scroll through them and like, oh, they're all screwed up and they're all the later prints. So at the end of the day, we're still talking about Wii Sports here. Like this isn't like rare or exciting or anything. But go get a first print Wii Sports in nice condition because your copy of Wii Sports, you know it's important. You have memories playing it because literally everyone on the planet has memories playing Wii Sports. Go get a first print that's in nice condition with like a nice white case that doesn't have any sticker damage on it. I think it might, I haven't looked for like how hard it would be to find. I think it might take some time to find a really nice upgrade copy of Wii Sports. If you're going for the first print, which would be, you look at the back and it's 62022A. And a lot of them will be like B or C, or there'll be like some code -2 is really common. You want there's a code on the back that ends in A is really what you want to remember. And it's not just a stupid little code variant. The code on the disc is actually different. And I only know this because speedrunners care about this. I think like there's in the baseball game, there's like a cutscene that doesn't happen in this version is like one of the changes. So you actually want the launch copy when you're playing for speedrunning. And it's $15, $25. It's Wii Sports. It had its moment during COVID where people were spending like $40 on Wii Sports. We all like lost our minds collectively for a minute. I think this is the perfect game for anyone to upgrade because everyone has it, everyone likes and remembers it, and everyone's copy is effed up.
Let me throw something at you here because I know you have a take on this. Tyler, that's not the box for Wii Sports. The console is the box for Wii Sports. Don't you need an original launch console box to have the nicest version?
I was considering recommending that, but then if we're talking in like objective reality, like yes, go get a complete in box launch Wii with Wii Sports, and that'll be your Wii Sports.
You probably already own one. Congratulations.
But in a subjective sense, like I don't want the Wii. I don't care about having a Wii console box. Like I have a Wii console box. Like of course I do, but because the Wii, there were a lot of them. I would rather showcase the Wii Sports. Honestly, put that in a nice like jewel case protector or something. Keep your Wii Sports nice. Guys, there's only 100 million of them. We're losing them by the day. People dropping them in the dirt and sliding and tearing up the edge of that cardboard sleeve. We got to save the Wii Sportses.
We do need to save them. We need to do that. Anyways, I'm going to tell you to buy the console box. And then when you put it on your shelf and someone goes, oh, sweet, I love your Wii. And you're like, no, that's my copy of Wii Sports. Correct them.
Okay.
Be as pedantic and horrible as possible.
All right. Johnny in the shower having arguments in his head with nobody. Let me just tell you, no one is ever walking into your room and saying, oh, sweet, a Wii.
You don't think so? You are incorrect.
Especially your room. Like, oh, wow, you have every Nintendo game complete in box. Oh, damn, you have a Wii? Oh, well, can we play Punch-Out?
That is the thing that stands out. I think if you walked into my office, the thing that stands out most is my complete Wii in box.
Wii box, good box. All white with just the hands on front. Way better than the Switch box or the Wii U box.
You know, I do love the simplicity of it. They really went that Apple route on it. Anyways, that's enough about Wii Sports.
All right.
Let's talk about another game no one's ever heard of. Last of Us. Hey, this is another one of those. Just go make sure you have a nice copy. So there are variants of this if you want to know that you have the first print. Like, I don't care how you feel about Last of Us 2. You don't want to talk about that? Fine. Last of Us is still an amazing game. Go get it. There is a black ESRB variant with the Foster City address. That's probably the one you want. That should be the first print. It's $10. Go buy it. I genuinely think it's one of the best games ever made, and you won't regret having it. And I don't think it's ever going to be expensive. There are different versions of this game, though, that you can go buy if you want to get more expensive. You can go get the Survival Edition, and then, oh gosh, Tyler, I forgot to look up the name of the super expensive Original Edition that came out.
That came in a really big box. That's dumb, and you shouldn't buy it.
Yeah. I don't recommend that. If you want the Survival Edition, like, cool. It's got like, I think a comic in there and stuff. Great. I like just the regular edition. It's $10 and you can't go wrong. And it really feels like the thing.
I really hate the Last of Us 2 Ellie edition. I feel like it is glorifying Ellie. I feel like it's getting like Schindler's List, the Hitler edition. It's like, wait, no, that's the bad guy.
Is she the bad guy?
Yes. There could be multiple bad guys, but she is certainly one of them and always has been.
I mean, I would just say this is the protagonist edition.
All right. If anyone heard something and didn't know what that we were talking about. So if you look at ESRB ratings, so you look at like the bottom left of a copy of The Last of Us, this is a really good game to look at it because there's a lot of copies of both versions. But the little box on the top of the ESRB logo,
yes.
The top of the box will be black with white text on the earlier prints, and then the later ESRB logo has a white box with black print above like the M rating. And you could use that on, that's a generic thing that happens. That's just an ESRB change that you could look for on all games of this era. And you could find the earlier prints. Exciting. I think for a lot of these games, just because basically everything is graded. You can just go to like the Wada Pop report and just like look up the variants. So if there is an ESRB variant like that, that will be on the Wada Pop report. So that's a thing where Wada's useful, even if you don't care about sealed games. We just lost another 7 listeners. I'm sorry. But how else would I know about the Assassin's Creed 2 Best Buy exclusive variant?
I
it's
don't
right
know.
there on the Pop report.
So the other thing you can do with regards to this, if you're unsure if something has a first edition, a thing I do now when I'm like looking at games, I'm like trying to decide edition, I put the name of the game and then I just put graded and then sort by highest and then look for what the defining factors of that game are. If you're just doing a quick search and you don't want to muck around on the WADA site or whatever. So that's a thing you can do to kind of learn some things about games and if there's like a weird version of the game. So
Johnny, I love finding an edition of a game that sells for like $2,000 sealed and then just going and buying the $10 complete version of that. Yep. I love it.
Same.
It's the same object and you got the cool thing, and don't let any stupid person tell you it's not the same thing, because you got the same thing and someone thinks it's $2,000 cool and you're allowed to think that your copy is $2,000 cool.
Here, I'll do you just a little bit better. Their version, sure, it's sealed up and like it's got some plastic on it, but you've got the version you can open up and look at. How cool is that?
Whoa. But then you got to make sure all the inserts are in there. But they'll never know if they have all the inserts. So you know what? Your version's better.
I won't. Yep. If you're a steelbook collector, though, you do need to go buy the Survival Edition. So sorry, guys.
I know we have a steelbook collector patron. I was going to say, if you're a steelbook collector, like reconsider what you're doing, but I can't say that because we got a steelbook collector patron.
I think look, steelbooks are like a weird thing to add in, but if I don't like it as an add-in, but I like it if it is the thing, it's fine. But it's like when
it's never the thing. It is never the thing. It's always like, here's the real game, and then like here's a steelbook to go with it.
Not always.
It's the thing. But, you know, it's never the actual thing because there's always a slipcover over it. So you don't even get to enjoy the steel part of it.
Yeah.
Aluminum. It's not steel. In case you guys didn't know, steelbooks are not made of steel.
They should be. Wow. We should sue. We should sue for false advertising.
Here's your aluminum book.
Yeah. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it? Yeah, steelbook was a marketing choice, I'm sure. Anyways. That's it. You know about Last of Us.
All right, Johnny, a game that we somehow, I don't think, talked about on this show, but you tell me, is this the defining game of the 2010s? Dark Souls on the PS3 and I guess Xbox, but who cares?
No.
No, you don't think it is? I mean, maybe it's not, but everything is Dark Souls now. Red Dead Redemption is just Dark Souls in the West.
Just Last of Us.
The Last of Us, other games do not get compared to The Last of Us that are like in completely different styles and genres just because of like the gameplay influence of The Last of Us. And I realize like the whole appeal of Dark Souls is that almost it plays like an older game that doesn't hold your hand, and that's a lot of the appeal of it. So anytime a 2D platformer doesn't hold your hand, it's like, oh, it's the Dark Souls of platformers. But The Last of Us doesn't have that kind of influence over like the vernacular of gaming. I don't know if it's just a meme, but it feels like it's more than a meme.
I also, look, you know how I feel about this. I feel like it's a bunch of dick measuring done by like kids who didn't play games in the 80s or people who are angry that games got easier or more narrative. They're like, yeah, see, this one's one of those games like that used to kick you in the balls, right? And this is like when your parents still beat you and told you were stupid and made you go to school when you were sick. Yeah, that's Dark Souls. You fucking pussies. Man up, fucking vaginas. Look how good I am at video games. I beat Dark Souls. You're just like, maybe get a hug. You feel like you need a hug. It's okay. Dark Souls, it's fine. It's like, it's a quality game. I'm not mad about it. Like, I'm not mad that they ramped up the difficulty, but people really lean into that and feel very specifically about the difficulty and how that defines them as a human. And I think that's weird.
I mean, it's true. I think there's a lot more to Dark Souls than difficulty because there's a lot of hard games.
So much.
It's almost like the Zelda that calling it like Zelda for adults is such a minimizing way to put it. But You know how like Pal World, we're gonna bring up Pal World again. Shout out to Pal World this episode. Guess what? It's January 2024. Everyone on planet Earth is playing Pal World. That's like the Pokemon game that everyone's always been waiting for. And I feel like to some people, Dark Souls is almost like the Zelda game that everyone's been waiting for. Like really just like gritty hard action adventure game. I realize it's there's only so much Zelda comparison you can draw. Johnny, Dark Souls, you can just get the regular version. It's so cheap for a game that's like this iconic. This is like, in comic terms, like I don't know what you would put it as. Like what's the Miles Morales issue? Something issue 4. Someone will remember what it is. There's like the first appearance of Miles Morales is a very iconic modern comic. And that's what this is for video games, I feel like. For modern video games. You could find copies for like $9, but for like a decent copy, like $15.
It's Ultimate Fallout.
Ultimate Fallout 4, yes. Yeah, and there's a limited edition. I don't like it because it comes with a steelbook. It's a steelbook and an art book, which they're not big. So like props to them for not being big. It'll fit on your shelf, but to me,
but it is bigger than it needs to be.
It's a little bigger than it needs to be, and it's a little bit eye-rolly for me, the limited editions. But like $75 for, again, like a game that feels like it's guaranteed to be an all-timer in a way that like King's Field is just not going to be. Like no one is going to go down the timeline and be like, well, King's Field is really the start of like when the Souls game started and like From Software started developing this style. It's like, no. People are going to point back to Dark Souls as the beginning of something. There is also the Prepare to Die edition, which includes the DLC. That is the PC version. I think that's a PAL and Australia exclusive. It seems maybe a little rare, but who cares? It's the PC version. And then they re-released the Prepare to Die version on consoles after that PC version. And then they also released it in Japan in a box set. It's called Dark Souls with Astorias from the Abyss, which is the name of the DLC. That's also like $75. Those are fine. I think this might be one of those games where you just get every single version, because I think it might just be that important in the gaming canon at this point. But I mean, you tell me. You're obviously not a fan of this.
It's not that I'm not a fan. I don't love the weird cultural buildup that like happened around like whether you were a real gamer or not if you played Dark Souls. It's just like, I hate that kind of talk. Oh, real game, you play bullshit games. Like, who fucking cares? Just
but I mean,
be happy
the game,
people are playing games.
Regardless of the how people talk about it, like the game still holds up.
Oh, absolutely. I said that like 100%. Like it's an excellent game. It's well made, and it did like create kind of a very specific genre and Dark Souls likes, as I hate to call it, but they exist now and it's a thing. And look how popular Elden Ring was. Like, Jesus, that was the only thing anyone talked about for a long time. And that's only because of, From Software and Dark Souls. So like, yeah, it's important and you should own it. I own the limited edition. I will say that I bought it when it came out though. So, I was very excited to play Dark Souls when it came out. It was all the conversations that happened afterward that made me be like, Jesus Christ. Okay, fine.
I think this is a point for me to bring up. So Dark Souls is our first big non-exclusive, maybe? I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2, but I mean, you're going to get the PlayStation version of that. And then like Call of Duty, you're probably going to get the Xbox version of that. But so Dark Souls came out on PS3 and Xbox. And personally, I love, this is such a simple system, and I haven't found a point where it fails me. If it's a Japanese developed game, you get the PlayStation version of it. If it's a Western developed game, you get the Xbox version of it. And every time I do that, I feel like I made the right choice. And I feel like the PS3 version is just so the version of Dark Souls to get over the Xbox 360 version. We're talking about a $15 game, but if I had to pick one, I'm picking the PS3 one. I mean, and also because it's the sequel to Demon Souls, which is a PS3 exclusive. It's like ridiculous to get the Xbox version, in my opinion.
Yeah, while you're at it, pick up Demon Souls.
So why isn't Demon Souls the game, Johnny? I haven't played a ton of Dark Souls, but I have played Demon Souls. And from what I understand about the Dark Souls fandom, everything they like seems to also be in Demon's Souls. So why did Dark Souls become the game?
So I think it's one of those things where Demon Souls came out and maybe didn't get all the fanfare that it needed in its initial push, right? So it did that thing, where sometimes the like the second issue of a comic sells out immediately because the first one was kind of underprinted and it's like existed, and then the second one, like, people go bananas for, and it like makes things popular. It might be that kind of effect. I'm not really sure because I was not like living around going, oh man, why aren't we talking up Demon Souls? When they came out, I didn't even realize they were from the same people. I was just hearing media about Dark Souls, and I was like, oh, that game looks cool. I'll go pick that up. And I had never played Demon Souls.
I think when it came out, the thing that I was mainly worried about was how to say Demon Souls and where the apostrophe goes. That was a hard thing when Demon Souls first came out. It is Demon '(S) Souls.
Not Demon Soul.
I think Demon Souls should be the status that Dark Souls is, but again, maybe when I beat Dark Souls, I'll understand why it is so much more popular. But considering we have a game in very much the same style, the same mood, the same series, from the same console generation, that feels like it's really the spark of something too. So, and I think you should get Demon Souls and the Demon Souls Limited Edition. I think are both, again, very worthwhile modern collectible things, even if they're not super expensive.
There's a lot of very important games like that we just didn't talk about because we would have had a list of like hundreds of games. There's some we're going to miss in here, but so like if you didn't hear a game here and you're really mad about it, let us know. Just let us know and we'll tell you whether we even considered it. Like, I know we're going to hear from Resident Evil 4 people because we didn't bring that up, but it's like, I didn't want to talk about too many GameCube games. So, we just made some choices.
All right. What else you got, Johnny?
All right. Well, here's one I just want you to weigh in on. And I know like maybe people kill me over this one. It's our only Wii U game. And it's not necessarily because it's a Wii U game. It's like the fact that it's a Wii U game is really an afterthought. It's Mario Kart 8. It did come out on the Wii U first. And I feel like Mario Kart's a weird franchise. We kind of agree on this. Like every version of Mario Kart is the best Mario Kart, right? Like they just keep coming out. They keep getting better. It's a game that is iterated very well. And like, I don't even know which the definitive version of Mario Kart is if you're not saying, well, it's by the original one. Some people would tell you the N64 one because that's when it went 3D. But Mario Kart 8 feels like it's really doing it all. And that game, which has sold so many copies on the Switch, it's ridiculous. Like, there's just this original version that came out on the Wii U, and it's got this weird special World of Nintendo exclusive that came with the Blue Shell trophy. What are we doing here? Am I a crazy person for putting Mario Kart 8 on this list, especially the Wii U version?
I think compared to some of these other kind of all-timers that we're talking about, like World of Warcraft and The Last of Us, I feel like Mario Kart 8 has more of a shelf life because, as you said, it is a series that seems to get better with each iteration. So either your favorite Mario Kart is either just the latest Mario Kart, or it's probably the first one you played. And there's going to be like that small group of weirdos who's like, no, actually Super Mario Kart has the most technical controls and it's the most challenging one, so that's actually the best. And then you got the weird Mario Kart 64 people, but like whatever, it's probably your first one or it's probably the latest one. And I feel like once Mario Kart 9 comes out, I think everyone's going to forget about Mario Kart 8. And I mean, it's not about price, but I think this will be, there's 40 million copies of this, so it'll just be kind of available forever. And it won't be as beloved as the next thing that comes out.
Do you think the weird World of Nintendo exclusive that's incredibly limited gives us any cachet?
Yeah, I like rare Nintendo things. I am a fan of like genuinely rare Nintendo things. And like when Nintendo does it themselves, I feel like it means something. Like when limited run games or like basically any other publisher puts something out that's limited, it's like, okay, so you got the limited thing. But if Nintendo's putting something out, it's like, there is a list of Nintendo limited editions that are genuinely rare, and like you get like that Majora's Mask PAL box set, that collector's edition. There's like 350 of or something, right? Or is there 2,000 of those maybe? But like it gets in a really exclusive club at that point. So yes, I do think there's clout from the Nintendo World limited edition, which was limited. How much was that? Was that limited to? Do we know the number on that?
I think people always say under 1,000. That's
Okay.
what I hear. I don't know if we have an exact number on that. You know, I'm surprised the number isn't 2,000, everyone's favorite number to spout off. So some things to know. It originally came out in a red box. There is a blue box version. You want the red box version, and that's the DVD clamshell case. So just make sure you get that. And I know some people are screaming like, oh, if you were going to talk about an original series, what about Splatoon? Same reason as Pikmin. Like, I feel like they're important, but they just didn't quite rise to that level. So sorry, Splatoon.
The Splatoon, no, it doesn't. All right, never mind. I was going to say, does it lose anything because like the multiplayer service shut down? And then I realized like Call of Duty 4 is like an all-timer from my list. So I can't give Splatoon shit for service shutting down.
No. And we just talked about selling server blades, so you know.
Well, I mean, the WoW servers can never shut down if you own the server. To plug that shit back in.
How amazing would that be? You're just like, I have the ability to just run my server.
I have to imagine they stole the hard drives out of those servers so you don't get the code.
I'm just saying, like, you could probably work it out. There's smart people in the world.
I mean, people are already running WoW private servers, so yes, they have figured it out.
All right, that's all I have to say about Mario Kart 8. And here's, for some reason, going back to the PS3, I guess we forgot to move this one. Uncharted. Tyler, you and I disagree. I say Uncharted 1 because it's the original. You say Uncharted 2 because it's the best.
Yeah, this is a series I would have called like one of my favorite of all time. Like during the peak of my Uncharted 2 hype, I'm like, man, the series could never go anywhere. And then it fell off a little bit for me, Johnny. The entire Uncharted series for me is based around Uncharted 2, and I would call that very similar to kind of like Mass Effect, where it has a great first game, an out of this world second game, and then a good third game and an okay fourth game. So I don't even know. I mean, I'm never going to regret buying Uncharted 1 or 2. Like, I think it belongs on this list along with 1,000 games we could put on this list. But for me, yeah, if I'm buying one, it's Uncharted 2. You got Uncharted's like the prototype that like defined the formula, had the funny character. Uncharted 2 was absolutely perfect. And then 3 was just Uncharted 2 again. They did the Twilight Princess thing. And then 4, they made like a movie or something because there was like two things you shot in that entire game.
If you feel that way. Anyways, let's just say you should probably own at least the first 3, right? Like, and they're not expensive. They sold millions. If you want to be a super collector though, Tyler, tell me about the Fortune Hunter edition and tell me why you don't own it.
I don't own it because this thing came out and it was like immediately $2,000.
Oh, okay. What is it? First off, what is the Fortune Hunter edition?
Fortune Hunter edition is a very big box version of Uncharted 2, and I don't even have you're springing this on me. I don't have it in front of me, like how it was released, but it was distributed in a contest. And how there's so few of them. I think there's 200 of them. And I know that at least one of them you could win from PlayStation Home. They had an Uncharted board game in the Uncharted zone. Johnny, I would sit there for hours grinding the Uncharted board game so I could try to win a copy of Fortune Hunter Edition. There's so few of them that are complete and actually sell. I don't even know what they go for. There's one complete looking one on eBay from SideQuest Games. He has it up for $7,000. Buy it now. I remember that exact copy at Portland Retro Gaming Expo like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I don't know if people like that. We're talking about things that you'll never regret buying. Like, I don't know if people will ever know or care that the Uncharted 2 Fortune Hunter Edition exists at this point. Like, it has not entered the game collecting Hall of Fame in the same way as Elemental Gearbolt Assassin's case. I could be wrong. Maybe it is the Elemental Gearbolt Assassin's case of the PS3. And it's actually like one of the absolute most beloved games on the PS3. But what it is, it's a big box that comes with a replica of the dagger, the Purba that you get in the game. And I think it comes with like a soundtrack or something and like the developer signatures. But it's just like a cool big box.
What I don't understand is why there's so many incomplete copies of it. Who's jacking around? Like, what did they do? What did these people do with this thing? You won this hot contest item and you just like fucking sold part of it off? What happened?
It's crazy how many are incomplete. So I've seen so many copies over the years because I've had my moments where I've been like the biggest Uncharted 2 fan, like on planet Earth. Like I'm not because I don't own this obviously, but I bought an art book for like $300. I bought like the professional real art book of Uncharted 2 for $300, and I ended up selling that for like $800. Uncharted people are nuts. But yeah, they're always missing the dagger. Like, how do you have this box set? You know, when you got it, you knew it was limited to 200, and it was Uncharted 2. It wasn't even like Uncharted 1, where like maybe you could see it falling into the hands of someone who doesn't understand the significance of like Uncharted Drake's Fortune, because like it isn't a brand new IP, it's a new franchise, and like it was a great game. But it didn't have like the hype of Uncharted 2. Everyone who won the contest for Uncharted 2 Fortune Hunter Edition knows like they have the thing. Why would they even open it? Like a lot of these copies were like opened and played. It's like, why didn't you just keep the game sealed in there? You just spend another $60. You have the thing.
I don't know. But if you've got a copy of this and it's complete, Tyler's got $2,000 for you. I'm spending Tyler's money for him.
If someone offered me one for $2,000, like I would consider that. I mean, this feels. I know I said it doesn't have the clout of Assassin's Case. I mean, for whatever reason, but it might just be because it's a more modern game. But I mean, maybe it does have the clout. It obviously does sell for some thousands of dollars whenever it does sell.
Yeah, I mean, it does sell on occasion.
Well, if you're a normal person, you can go ahead and just get Uncharted 2, and it's the 5 out of 5 stars. In the bottom center of the case, that's the first print. And they made so many variants of that, putting all sorts of other garbage and badges all over that case. But you just want the one that says 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. There are only ugly versions of this game available, unfortunately. Like on the case, all the bullshit they put on it. I hate that. And just to like back up 1 second, the Last of Us edition with the statue and the steelbook is called the post-pandemic one, the big expensive one that you don't want.
Prescient.
Sorry, what?
It was predicting that you would be buying it in the post-pandemic world.
Oh, okay, I got you now. Anyways. Tyler, we are just blazing through this list now.
All right, let's get to another one I'm excited about, Johnny. StarCraft 2.
Do it.
Bam! Out of nowhere. First time StarCraft 2, collecting StarCraft 2 on the Collector's Quest podcast. Because how often do we talk about common PC games?
All the time.
I'm looking at the list of like all-timers that you will never regret owning. And StarCraft 2 pops out because there will maybe never be a better RTS. And you know what? In 30 years, if you tell me there's a better RTS, okay. But if Activision freaking Blizzard sat down and gave a team $500 million to make StarCraft 3, you know it's going to suck. Because you know it's going to be free-to-play nonsense with all these microtransactions and fucking bullshit. And StarCraft 2 did get a little bit of that in the multiplayer. But RTS is a dead genre. They just don't make RTS games anymore. If you literally look at the most popular RTS games in terms of player counts, it's StarCraft 2 and Age of Empires 2 HD. We are literally living in the freaking 90s when it comes to the RTS genre because it just never got better. I realize StarCraft 2 is like 2009 or something, but I think it might be the best, and it's my favorite competitive game of all time to watch. I think it is the most interesting competitive game because I sit down and I've tried to watch a game of like League of Legends and Dota, and I think it's the most boring thing ever. I just want to see 1v1, the grand strategy of a chess game plus the micro management of a battle is like watching a first-person shooter, and it's the best of both worlds. If you don't watch competitive StarCraft, give it a try. I think it's so good. Johnny, this game's like $5. Maybe if you want to find like the nicest box, you'll spend $15 for a small box. But then, similar to World of Warcraft, and this game came out way after World of Warcraft, they made these big box collector's editions, and they're not quite as big as the WoW boxes, so they are a little bit more reasonable for a shelf. But it was during this era where like everyone was buying the WoW collector's editions, so everyone bought the StarCraft 2 collector's editions, and a lot of people kept them sealed, and they are so cheap. You could find the collector's editions for like $40, maybe like $60, and there's like copies with like all the developer signatures on them, and they're still like well under $100. And then you find like sealed ones, and they're like maybe $100. And it's like the people probably paid more for them back when StarCraft 2 came out for those sealed copies.
That's rough. I hope they did it for the love.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there was a guy who just sold 3 sealed copies, like of all 3 games, and he got like $60 each for them. I mean, I hope he enjoyed having them while he had them. Maybe he's just over StarCraft 2 and he really enjoyed having his sealed copies.
Maybe.
There is a guy who works at Blizzard who's on YouTube. He's a popular guy. He's called Pirate Software, and he says he worked on a horse for World of Warcraft, a single DLC horse. Or no, he was on the StarCraft team. But there was a DLC horse for World of Warcraft that made more profit than StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty made. And that is why we will never have StarCraft 3.
Yikes.
Yep. We're doomed.
That's an amazing quote, though.
It is. I
love that stat. I love that stat
it's
so
awful.
much.
Yeah, I mean, you start looking at like EA's like their revenue reports, and you see like how many billions of dollars come from microtransactions, and it's like, oh, no wonder gaming is the worst thing in the world. We're doing it to ourselves.
Self-inflicted wounds all over the place. All right. Got any more on StarCraft, or shall I move us?
No, go get it.
All right. Hey, guys. Staying back in time, let's talk about Mario Galaxy. You ever heard of this one? Probably not, right? Pretty rare gem.
Wait, Johnny, you're talking about the rare Mario game that came with the pre-order coin?
That's the one. Hey, and if you were really lucky, you went to GameStop and you found an ornament to go with it that Christmas.
Wow. Johnny,
Wow.
You know, there are these stupid kids out there who they got their Super Mario Wonder pre-order pack, and they're pulling these elephant Mario cards and selling them for $700. You know what? Back in my day, we got a metal coin. You guys have a piece of cardboard. We have a metal coin, and it's worth almost $5 on eBay now, complete in box.
And it's as big as the game because it comes in a big cardboard case. Well, not big. It's like a DVD-sized cardboard case. Woo!
I kind of like it. So if you don't, so there is this pre-order coin, and it comes in like a DVD-sized case with like a window so you can see the coin, and I do kind of like it, and it is absolutely worth it. And you know what? Mario Galaxy is an absolute all-timer, so go buy the pre-order coin. It's cool. It's way cooler than the Elephant Mario card, and it's worthless.
I joke, but if you don't have that ornament and this coin, are you even collecting Mario Galaxy?
Oh my God.
What are you doing?
So the ornament has nothing to do with pre-orders. The ornament was a stupid thing that I feel like everyone, it must have been in like the December 2008, because it was on like mega clearance. They were selling them for like $1 or $5, and everyone got this stupid ornament, and I see them all the time.
I hang it on my tree every year.
I hang it on my tree every year.
I laugh every time I see it.
It's an iconic ornament. My parents know what it is. They're like, oh, it's the Super Mario Galaxy ornament that you got at GameStop for $1.99 that you put on every year.
Yeah, it's great. I tell you, I laugh, but I don't laugh at it. I laugh with joy that I'm seeing this on my tree every year. And I hope to continue seeing it for a very long time. I like it well enough, and it's still so cheap, I consider buying a backup copy in case I ever break it.
I think it's available enough that you won't need one. But, who knows? Maybe 25 years you won't be able to get a replacement ornament when you break yours, because I'm sure it's the cheapest thing ever. But whatever.
Anyways,
Johnny, you take good care of your ornaments. You probably have a bunch of fragile ornaments. They're taken care of. They're packed well.
I mean, but they do, like, you drop them, you break them, and we do have... we have a lot of ornaments on our Christmas tree. I don't know how you do it, but I wish we had a bigger tree so we could put up more ornaments. My wife and I, every year, we go buy a new ornament every year. We're like, okay, it's time. We go pick out a specialized ornament, whatever we're feeling, whatever speaks to us that year. And now that we have my son, he picks one out. He gets very excited as well. This year he bought a Jurassic Park dinosaur. So that was cool. It was like a good choice. So, yeah. And the year before that, he picked the Super Nintendo. I didn't even pick that one. He picked it because it had Mario on it, and he knows Mario. So, yeah.
I'm done with ornaments. Like, years ago, we got enough. We just don't need any more. What are you going to do? There's always so many that like don't fit on the tree. Know. Like, what are we doing?
That's why we need a vaulted ceiling so we can get a bigger tree, Tyler. Need to look, and then you don't have to put every ornament on every year. You can rotate and be like, then you can be like, oh, I forgot we had this. This is good. Let's put it on the tree this year. You can discuss it, and we have little memories tied to them. It's a fun tradition that my wife and I enjoy, and I'm glad we've got my son in on it now. But that's going to be a lot of ornaments by the time we're all done. And my wife and I have been together 21 years, so we have a lot of ornaments now.
Johnny, there is a 6-pack of these ornaments in their original retail packaging for $150.
Whew. Too expensive.
That is definitely too expensive, but you would have 6 backups. That's a lifetime supply. This is probably my favorite ornament it's on my parents' tree because they have it. This wouldn't fit on my tree. I use a little 3-foot tree, Johnny. It's great.
You got to get a 6-footer at least.
Get on the small Christmas tree train. It's so not a hassle. I love it.
The hassle is the point. Anyways, let me tell you about this Mario Galaxy that you've never heard of. Hey, there's not really a good distinguisher on what the first prints are. As of yet, someone will probably figure that out. Or probably, some code on the back and made in Japan.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything on the case itself that you could use to determine the print. I think they're all the same.
Maybe we don't know. Give it time. Let someone care. I
think this is a game that enough people have looked into at this point that we would know if there was some external distinguisher.
So here's the best part: you can still get like a sealed copy for like $50. You can go get $50 to $75. I saw.
All right, go get a sealed Mario Galaxy.
Yeah,
I mean maybe 20, not if you don't care about sealed games, but
yeah, $25 if you want like a loose one, which is a crazy good price for a Mario game. I know it's the most common thing ever, but man, what an all-timer. If you don't own Mario Galaxy, what are you even doing? I did want to bring up though, because we talked about the elephant. We did our elephant check. It's the elephant in the room part of Collector's Quest, and the elephant in the room is $700, going strong. $600, holding steady, not doing a whole lot. That's the Mario Wonder card.
It is. I feel like people are still playing Mario Wonder. I give it 2 years, and we're going to check back in. I want to see if anyone cares about this thing.
We will come back to the elephant in the room, and we will check this. But did you know that Mario Galaxy also had trading cards?
I actually didn't know this, Johnny. Where did they come from?
They came from Nintendo.
Why?
I don't know beyond that.
Bought packs of them?
Yeah. You can buy packs of Mario Galaxy trading cards.
What are you talking about? Look at that. This Mario card is so much better than the Elephant Mario.
Much better.
It's a holofoil Mario doing like the woohoo jump, and it's got like a rainbow background in space with a bronze border, and it's not an elephant, and it's $7.
Yep. You can buy sealed packs. There's there's, I guess, 100 of them, and there's promos and pop-out cards, and there's some posters. Like, go look for this. There's, I think there's maybe there was a binder, or maybe that was just like a custom one. Anyways, there's a lot of these different cards that you can go spend money on, or you can just get some easy ones. There's PSA graded posters. Like, there's a lot of Mario Galaxy cards. They are way cooler than that elephant.
They're pretty attractive cards. They're not like my favorite cards ever, but they're definitely more attractive than the Mario Wonder cards. Man, look at this foil Toad. Toad just floating in space. Oh, this is great. That's good stuff.
There's like sealed packs for $30. Like, what do you want?
All right, no. So I went down a trading card rabbit hole at some point, and like everyone listening to this show, you don't need trading cards. If you're not like the trading card guy, and to be the trading card guy, you already have to have like over 10 graded trading cards. If you're just talking about sticking this stuff in a shoebox, like what are you going to do with the Mario Galaxy trading cards? I'm looking at them and I'm like, wow, these look kind of cool, but I would never in a million years spend the $7 to get that cool Mario card. Because what am I going to do with it? Should I get the Mario? Should I just get the Mario and put it in my case of the game though, Johnny? I mean, should I do that?
Yep.
There's a Kamek. There's a little wizard that shoots shapes. You get a PSA 9 of that. Low pop for $100.
I'm telling you, these Mario cards
people grading the Mario Galaxy trading cards.
You get the Mario in space foil card. He's just flying. It's like the cover of the game without the logo. Looks so good. Anyways, they exist, and I just wanted other people to know that these cards exist, and you could own them.
There's a foil Luigi in the bee suit, which is just as dumb as Elephant Mario. Why isn't that worth $700, Johnny?
Yeah, it's a real dumb looking card. But
okay,
hey,
let me do this, Johnny. I realize that these cards were probably worthless for a really long time, and like there's probably just they're sitting in shoe boxes because everyone who has them doesn't know what to do with them. I bet there are fewer Mario Galaxy trading cards than there are Elephant Marios on eBay right now.
Maybe.
But it's not serialized. They could be out there. We just don't know.
That's right. We just don't know.
All right, Johnny, what are we doing? Well, we're talking about Mario Galaxy trading cards. We got to end this show.
I just thought they were fun. Okay, we got a few more things to get through. I'm gonna switch over to Xbox real quick, and I'm just gonna tell. Look, we've talked about this game a lot. We don't need to go into it too much, but if you don't own BioShock, then go own BioShock. Yes, there's the collector's edition of it, and yes, if your statue got broken, you could have sent it in and got an art book, and now the art book's more expensive. No one cares. There's a special edition and a regular edition. The regular edition has a slipcover. That basic slipcover is like $15. You can buy a sealed one for a lot more than that, especially if you want it graded. But you can go pick this up. Pretty easy. You want the special edition? They're like as cheap as they've ever been. They used to be like pretty expensive. Now they're like $75, $100, $150. Like great if you like BioShock. I will say that the limited edition version, keep saying special, but it's limited edition version with the Big Daddy statue. The game case is different inside, so it's not the same art that's on the regular copy. So if that helps you make a decision, or like I said, it's these aren't very expensive, buy both. But at least the basic version has a cool kind of textured slipcover. So buy whichever speaks to you most.
Yeah, I hate anything that comes with a statue, so I hate the special edition. But so sealed BioShock is not very rare. And it had the slipcover protecting it, so even like a mint sealed BioShock is not super rare, but all the slipcovers are like a little bit damaged. So even if you're just like a complete in box guy, because you're like a normal person, I bet your BioShock slipcover is not super great. So that could be that's like one of those fun things for me to hunt for on eBay. And like you're probably not going to find like the super mint one because the sealed guys are going to go and try to steal those. But like go try and find like the nicest BioShock slipcover you could find. That could be like an eBay rabbit hole for you to spend a week going down.
Okay, next game, real quick, Animal Crossing. So this is the GameCube version. Again, another game we've talked about a lot. I just want to tell you, if you have the regular version of this game and you don't have the memory card, what are you doing? Make sure you go get the memory card. It's like $80 to $100 for the memory card version. I will say this, and I'm not recommending it, but if you get desperate, the Player's Choice Edition comes with the same memory card as far as I can tell. But
there might be different date codes on that PCB, Johnny. You can't be recommending this. This is illegal.
I didn't say I recommended it. I was just putting that information into the world, and you can do whatever you want with it. Anyways, the most interesting thing about Animal Crossing to me is one, that they advertised this memory card and kept doing it, but also the Animal Crossing cards that came out, and kind of these were the first like kind of collectible. Well, I'm not going to say first collectible Nintendo cards, because Nintendo had a whole thing where they sold cards before they sold video games. So yes, I know a little bit about
Wow,
history,
you went back
but
further than I was thinking. I was going to bring up the Donkey Kong, like early 80s trading card set, but no, you're talking about like 19th
Hanafuda.
century Hanafuda.
Yeah. Name I just horribly pronounced. All of our listeners who are bigger weebs than I am, which is pretty much anybody on this planet, feel free to laugh at my bad pronunciation. Anyways, yeah, these cards were like hard to find, got expensive, have stayed kind of expensive. People go after full sets of them. It's a whole subset of Animal Crossing. If you're hard into Animal Crossing, you can do, they brought the cards back. They're like amiibo cards back for the latest edition. So go buy some Animal Crossing, go get some cards. Well, even if you have one pack of them, cool. Just say like, look, and this game also did this thing. So I liked them for that.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is definitely the most expensive complete in box game on our list. It's like $80-$90 with the memory card. And all the rest of this is just like, I'm going to just say like trash, but it's obviously not. They're like amazing games, but they're like $20 games. And Animal Crossing, its clout was really raised with the pandemic, and it was kind of the perfect storm of one, being on GameCube and everyone going crazy for GameCube with COVID. And then two, Animal Crossing New Horizons becoming like the most popular game of all time. And people probably went back to Animal Crossing. And I don't think there will ever be a serious amount of people who go back to Animal Forest on N64. So I think Animal Crossing is it. And, I probably agree. I think Animal Crossing, go get a Made in Japan copy, Johnny. I'm all about those Made in Japan GameCube variants. Because like complete in box, no one cares. So just like go dig through 100 copies and go find one.
Yeah, you're probably not paying much difference in price. Number 20 on the list, the orange box for Xbox 360 and PC, I guess.
Oh, PC, I guess, yeah. Half-Life traditionally not associated with PC. People think about the PlayStation version. The PSP
That's where
version,
I played it. Yep.
So this is an interesting game, the orange box. One, because it ties into a recent episode, or the last episode, actually, where I complained that games feel less important when they're packaged together. And even though the orange box is kind of the complete thing of what it is, having like 3 completely random disparate games, while an amazing value at the time, it feels weird looking at it. I see it and I'm like, that's Portal, basically. And I love Half-Life 2 Episode 2, but I look at it and I'm like, that's my copy of Portal.
Same.
So, another interesting thing about the orange box, I think this is a collectible Xbox 360 game, because we talk about like these ultra common trash games. I'm talking the God of Wars, your Modern Warfare 2s. Orange box is like $30 on Xbox 360. And that says to me that everybody lost their copy of it, but they actually want it back to go play Portal again. Or, I mean, that's probably it. They want to play Portal again.
Portal's
because
amazing.
on PC, this game is worthless. Like $5. I mean, it is kind of the era, like the small box PC era, which, 2003-ish and on, no one wants those games. If you're looking for an era of games that you can get like all the cool stuff you want and no one wants it, small box PC after they stopped making the big boxes. And the reason is because I think everyone who bought that still has the games on Steam. It's just in their Steam account. So they could just go and it's still there. They've had it for 20 years now or whatever. But I guess if you played it on Xbox, you have to go pick up a copy of the game, and it's probably worth the $30 to you. I think it's interesting how expensive this game is on Xbox, Johnny.
It's a little unique in that respect. But man, Portal is so good. And Portal 2 is so good. We put Portal on here, but you should just have both games. You should just go find a copy of Portal 2 while you're at it.
I think Half-Life 2 Episode 2 is a better game than Portal. I think Portal is too easy, but it is a phenomenon, and it's obviously a great game, Johnny. I think Portal 2 is everything I want. I can complain about nothing with Portal 2. It's like the perfect video game.
I told you how nervous I was about Portal 2 and how much I didn't want it.
Right.
And I rarely feel that way about, like, I was mad. I was just like, no, don't do it. This game was perfect. And then they made Portal 2 and God, I was happy to be wrong.
Like, they did it again. They made it harder, and they added, like, a co-op multiplayer campaign. Like, they did everything, and it wasn't bullshit.
Go get your Lego Dimensions Portal set. Go get your Portal companion. Buy all the Portal stuff. Go buy a little cube with a heart in it. Go get your tchotchkes. Get everything Portal.
Good call out. Yeah, Lego Dimensions Portal level, one of the better Lego Dimensions levels. It's a good level.
Super good. Super good, too. It's so good. And, we got to figure out what to do with Lego Dimensions because some of that is, like, software.
Forget Lego Dimensions. Dude, you modern era collectors, I think to have your whatever full set you're collecting, you need every Lego Dimension figure. Because there's that NFC chip, whatever's in the Lego Dimensions figures, that counts as software. There's some amount of ones and zeros in there, so you got to own every last Lego figure.
So do you need, it's just the disc that has the info in it. The figure doesn't. So do you just need the disc that the figure stands on?
Well, I mean, the figure has to have something. There must be some amount of ones and zeros on that figure.
No, there's nothing on the figure itself. It's the little disc. There's
the
little
disc.
blue disc.
Oh, I thought you meant the game disc. Yeah, no, the disc that the figure stands on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also need all the Disney Infinity, all that, the Skylanders.
Mm-hmm.
I am surprised that I haven't seen a really organized collection where someone has just like all toys to life. I feel like I have seen every manner of collector who just like the most niche things, like steelbooks, just like every steelbook. Here's like 400 different steelbooks, and there's no toys to life guy that I've seen. I've seen really big bins full of Skylanders and Lego Dimensions specifically. I think I've seen some interesting stuff. But like I've never seen like a Toys to Life person like a Skylanders or an Amiibo collector.
I'll send you a link. There are a lot of Amiibo collectors. Don't be crazy.
No. I mean there are Amiibo collectors, but I've never seen like a really organized Skylanders, Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions collection. Like all combined. I want them to be all Toys to Life because this was someone's childhood. Someone had all of these Toys to Life games and like their Matchbox cars, their Hot Wheels, their G.I. Joes are like Skylanders and Disney Infinity figures. And I want to see that person grow up and become one of us crazy people. Send it to me. Post it in the Discord. Someone show me crazy Toys to Life collections. I want to see them.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are for Skylanders. So, lots of big Skylander sets. Like people who like, hey, this is my set. And then like the crazy thing about the Dimensions figures is that they're like such good figures that like they just cross over with Lego fans. So, I mean, obviously it's Lego, but like just minifig collectors. So,
oh, you mean, yeah, Dimensions.
I'm curious how many. Yeah. So I'm curious how many are in there. And there's like figures you can only get there. Like, yeah, you can get like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Like, who doesn't want that? You can get Gremlins. You can get Shell. Like, what do you want?
I'm in the Skylanders subreddit, Johnny, and I'm looking for a cool Skylanders collection, and I'm seeing memes bashing Disney Infinity and Lego Dimensions.
Is this like a rivalry? Like, which one did you choose as the one you?
I guess it is.
You hate the rest. Oh man, no thanks. Anyways, what else do we have to say about this? Anything? I can't say enough good things about Portal. But here's the last thing I want you to do, Tyler. And I'm not going to do this, but I want you to tell me if you can only have 5 games off this list. What are your 5?
It's going to be the ones that I put on there, Johnny.
Sure. Which one?
It's going to be Diablo 2, Metroid Prime for me personally.
I put that on the list, but no.
I know. I mean, I didn't put it on it because I wasn't thinking of Nintendo. Dark Souls, definitely. StarCraft 2 and Animal Crossing.
And Animal Crossing. Also, you didn't put it on the list. I did.
Didn't.
Just pointing that out. Just, so fuck yourself. Just, making sure you know to fuck yourself. That's all.
Johnny, we didn't mention that the orange box actually has 2 variants on PC. Small box. There's probably more than that, but there's one that comes in an actual orange box. Like the box is plastic, is orange, And then there's a
Ooh.
black one. And looking at the trailer for the game, I think the black one came first because they show a black box in the trailer. They're both $5. You might as well just get them both.
Yeah, get them both. I'm surprised you didn't take Mario Galaxy.
Oh, I just kind of overlooked it. Oh, man. All right, I'll take Mario Galaxy over Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is cool, but it's not the real first thing, Johnny.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go like all in. I would probably go Portal, Twilight Princess, Last of Us, Galaxy, and then, man, could be any of these other ones that fill in. Like Diablo 2 is a really good pick.
World of Warcraft Server Blade, do it.
Man, I think as far as like the coolest, like over expensive, dumb version of a collectible you can get, I think the Server Blade is the coolest thing we've talked about on this list that.
Oh, it's better than Uncharted 2 Fortune Hunter Edition. And I don't even like WoW. I just think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, me too. Same. And I probably throw BioShock on there or Uncharted. That's a tough call. I love both of them. Anyways, that's it. We did it, Tyler. We got through the list.
Johnny, I'm also seeing memes making fun of Amiibo, so don't think that they got
I didn't think Amiibo was safe.
All right. Yeah, Johnny, we're done. Those are some I love, besides $3,000 World of Warcraft server blades, I love how cheap collecting all the best modern games are sometimes.
Yep. It's just you can go put all this stuff on your shelf and you'll never regret it. And you'll have an amazing collection, so you don't have the mistake in 25 years and be like, oh shit, why didn't I buy that when it was cheaper? I can't believe I'm going to have to spend $35 instead of $25 on this game. Damn it, how will I ever recover from this?
The resellers! He bought up all the copies of Dark Souls. He bought all 4 million copies of Dark Souls that sold, and he bought them all and he marked them up. That's definitely what happened. That's why video game prices increase. It's because people buy them and then immediately put them back onto the same market, and people pay more for them. That's how prices go up, guys. And that's like the Bitcoin mindset. Oh, I buy Bitcoin, I put Bitcoin back for sale in the same exchange, and I make money. That's how video game markets work too. They just always go up. It's crazy.
So I have a question. Of the list of games we just talked about, since you didn't play WoW, what games do you think on this list you put the most time into, though? If you had to pick because the ones I played the most don't equal my favorite games, which is interesting.
I think I played a lot of the single player games like once, and like I played Uncharted 2 so many times, but that game it's like 10 hours long. Diablo 2. Diablo 2 I played for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the one.
So I didn't play much of Diablo 2 when it first came out. I only played through well after the phenomenon. But like Modern Warfare 2, World of Warcraft, Kingdom Hearts, I put a lot of hours into those games. Then it's probably like Twilight Princess. And I've played a lot of Last of Us, so probably Last of Us.
I've played I think a lot of people, I don't know. People put a lot of time into like the multiplayer like Call of Duties, and there's those people who are like really into like collecting like big sealed Call of Duty stuff or like Halo stuff and things like that. I think a lot of my time the games I put so many hours into are things like I can't really own. Like I put so many hours into like RuneScape. There's no RuneScape. And I put so many hours into Lord of the Rings Online, like another one of these games, like hundreds and hundreds of hours. I remember because I had like TV seasons on repeat as I was like grinding mobs in Lord of the Rings Online, but I never beat the main story in that game. Like that's how much content and grinding there was in that game. So I feel like I can't be a super fan of of like Lord of the Rings Online because like I didn't even beat it.
Which is crazy.
I feel like I'm disconnected from the game in a certain way. Whereas like Diablo 2, I've seen like everything in that game 4 billion times over. I don't know.
It's interesting how that happens. I just like the phenomenon that you can put more hours into something that like the amount of time you play doesn't necessarily equal a favorite. Doesn't mean it isn't a favorite. Like obviously Diablo 2 you love, but
sure.
Modern Warfare 2 is not ever going to be my favorite game, but just the social aspect, and same with WoW. Like put a lot of time into that for it.
Well, here, let me transition us, Johnny. It's not really going to be a transition because we're skipping the question. We have to come back to it. I just bought Might and Magic 6, 7, and 8. And it's because I spent so many hours in freaking Might and Magic 1 that I feel like I've spent this time that I should be more invested in this franchise. And I've only ever beaten Might and Magic 1 and 3. And I really don't have interest in 2, 3, 5. And I'm probably like eventually, maybe later this year, I'm going to start with 6. But it's just like I spent so much time with it that I feel like I should own more of it. And that happens especially with RPGs. If I like play an RPG on an emulator and I don't have like a complete in box copy of that game, I go and buy the game after I beat it. Because I own hundreds of games that I will never even touch for the rest of my life. So if I actually sit down and spend 50 hours playing a video game, I feel like I should own it.
Yeah, same. Like you invest all the time. It's like, man, I would like something to represent that time I spent on it, which is like, for these people, like if you spent just like half a year of your life just playing WoW and you didn't buy a server blade, come on, man. Like you buy that
server blade, guys. They're right there. They're on eBay. They're only $2,000.
Get that trophy. Be like, look, you want to know where my life went in my mid-20s? Here it is, right here.
Johnny, they don't have time to browse eBay. It's raid night.
Yeah, it's true.
The only reason they can even listen to this podcast right now is because they're just raiding.
Yeah, that's probably true. We are a good podcast to listen to while you raid. But let's be fair. People who are playing WoW, they're not collecting games. They're playing games. They're out there doing it.
There is something to that, Johnny. We're like wasting our lives here with like collecting mass-produced media garbage. But the people playing WoW, they don't have to worry about upcoming releases. They don't have to worry about like, Pal World's out. Should I check out the new thing? What are my friends playing? You know what their friends are playing? Their friends are playing freaking WoW. And you know what they're going to do after work? They're going to log into WoW. And their brain is going to release dopamine. It's going to be great. They're going to have a good time. We're not having a good time. We're here like stressed, like, what should I play? I'm playing like old NES games and sometimes they're garbage. And I'm like, man, this game's garbage, but it's historic. So, I should be playing it, right? Because I like game history. And they're just like, fuck everything. Let's go click some monsters.
Yep.
They got it figured out.
You did not get to bitch about quest markers, though.
What do you mean?
You wanted to complain about how quest markers ruin games.
Oh, what happened? We were supposed to talk about the Elder Scrolls in this episode. We didn't talk about it.
We didn't make the list.
There's no... Okay, I thought that was a shoo-in for one of the things you were going to talk about.
No, you're more the Elder Scrolls guy than I am. You didn't put it on the list.
So that's another one of those things like Call of Duty. We'll just do it in like 2 seconds. But so like Call of Duty, you got 1.4 and Modern Warfare 2. In my opinion, I kind of lived through that era more than I lived through the later games. Maybe the younger kind of generation has a different opinion of that. So with Elder Scrolls, fuck Daggerfall. Only weirdos care about Daggerfall. Only weirdos care about Arena. The only reason you want Arena is because it's like the technical first. So you've got Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. And so like you got like the hardcore, kind of like the Dark Souls crowd is into Morrowind. And they're like, oh, no quest marker. Oh, immersion. This is what a real RPG is like. I have to read the road signs. I have to keep a notebook. And those people are 100% correct. And that is why Morrowind is indeed the best Elder Scrolls game. But like that's the game for those people. And of course, Morrowind, very cheap game. A little bit less cheap than the others, I think, because it's the best one. But then you have Oblivion, and the thing I personally love about Oblivion as a historical relic is that it ruined video games. It's a 10 out of 10 game. I love Oblivion. But when you are playing Oblivion, you are not looking at what's happening on the screen. You're looking at the fucking 1-inch compass that's telling you to go to the next triangle. That is all you look at in Oblivion. You don't look at the trees. You don't look at the wildlife. You don't look at the river. You're looking at the compass and you're making sure you're pointed at the next objective. And don't lie to me and tell me that you're looking at anything else. That is all anyone looks at in Oblivion. And that obviously had a great influence on game design. We had quest markers before that. Grand Theft Auto 1 has quest markers, but the quest markers in Oblivion really influenced how games became a lean back and enjoy yourself experience over lean forward and not have fun experience and get good. And then Skyrim, I don't know what's up with Skyrim. They kept re-releasing it, but I guess you don't need to own a copy of Skyrim, Johnny, because you already own it.
Yeah, you definitely own 4 copies of Skyrim. And I just can't wait for the next release of Skyrim. I wonder when it's coming out.
There is an interesting Oblivion, because Oblivion had the teen-rated one, and it got upgraded to an ESRB M, so the early prints of that have a teen rating.
There is some other games we left off. I'll just mention them quickly that I wanted to talk about, but we didn't have time. KOTOR. We didn't really get into the KOTOR discussion. Pretty important game. I think I mentioned that we didn't talk about Resident Evil 4. That's another big one. And we did not talk about a GTA. And we could have. San Andreas, which one? Which GTA do you want to pick? There's so many important ones. Anyways.
I mean, it is, yeah. I think 2 is the only one, 2 in Vice City you can kind of write off, but every other one has such a big claim. 1 for starting the franchise, 3 San Andreas just for being so huge and popular, and then 4 and 5 also was kind of the same thing.
5 for being on every console ever made.
Yeah.
There's actually an 8-bit version on the NES now, so you can go enjoy it there too.
Yeah, 5 is the biggest, highest grossing game of all time. I don't Roblox or something might be, but you look at the GTA Online numbers, because these are public companies, you can see their numbers, and it's just unfathomable how much money they make off not even selling the game for $60, just money that just keeps coming in 10 years after the game's been out.
It's crazy. Anyways, that's our games, and yes, we know hundreds and hundreds of games that we could have mentioned, but we got to keep it tight, a tight 20. And that's why we talked about 25, because we never do anything on timer. Anyways, Tyler, do we have a collector's question?
We sure do, Johnny. And it's coming up right now. Final Fight CD asks, in what ways has social media helped and hurt game collecting?
Well, social media, I guess we're talking as we move beyond the forums. I will say the one thing that I was very jazzed about as social media started to take over, especially Instagram, was pictures. I wanted to see pictures of games because there was too many things I was hunting for, trying to find out if they existed, and no one was posting pictures. And a very bad search, but you could kind of search through social media. It did allow people to find other like minds. Do you consider Discord social media, Tyler?
Sure.
In that case, Discord, I think, has been a boon for people. You can get together with like-minded people. As forums kind of died, this was kind of the next step. So, the way it hurt, social media is the goddamn worstest. It makes people revolting. It preys on everybody's insecurities. It puts a filter on life into best case scenarios, which makes people insecure and feel bad about themselves. As much as you can find people who are like you, you can also observe people that seem unobtainable. It has people acting in ludicrous ways for clout. It gives you the ability to bully people more efficiently than ever. There's a lot of horrible things about social media, and anything I just said, you can then apply it to collectors, and they have done it. And, it kind of the worst of the showing off and the look at me's that I hate. So, while there can be a lot of positives, there's also a lot of negatives just baked into all social media.
The pictures are amazing because you used to have a post your collection thread, and people would post in there, once every 3 years, and you get a little update. And now people are posting their shit all the time. And that's also a thing with smartphones. It's so easy to post something on the internet now. the searchability is garbage. And I mean, it's just the way social media is set up. It's not set up to search for old topics. It's set up to search for trending topics. It just wants to show you a random feed of shit so you never get off the website, which is not what a forum is. A forum is meant to be searchable. If you have something related to a topic that was posted in 2017, you could bump that topic and start up that discussion again, which is just, that's not something that happens on social media, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And Final Fight CD, you know this because you're on Video Game Sage, which is like one of the last bastions of video game collecting forums. So many of the other ones have died. I feel like Video Game Sage is a very small forum. Like, I know that not a ton of Collector's Quest listeners are going to be there, but I was doing a web search for the Nintendo Wii refurbished product variants. So these are variants on the Nintendo Wii that I think Nintendo sold directly through their store and on eBay. It might have been like 50-50 kind of deal. And the case insert art actually has a big red banner on it that says refurbished product. They are so cool. I used to think these were garbage, and now I think they're the coolest. I have like completely 180'd on them. All they are, it's just a used variant that was sold directly from Nintendo. That's all it was. And I was Googling it, and one of the first results I found that actually had a picture of everything I was looking for was Video Game Sage. And I'm like, are you serious? This little community, this like offshoot community from Nintendo Age, which was a kind of big forum, and now this is like smaller, even nicher forum in an era of dying forums. This is still where I'm finding this kind of information, because people must have posted 100 different ones of these on like Instagram, but I'll never find that stuff because you can't search it. And I think we're losing a lot of that. And now we're like, we need people like there's this website, afew.games, which is like one of these upcoming video game variant databases. Like, we need people to make bespoke websites because social media is not enough for us to actually gather this info. It's a great place to like brainstorm and get all the info, and like everyone puts their shit out there so we all like see it and know what it is. But then after you see it, you have to like write it down yourself, because once you see it, you're never going to see it again. And I hate it so much. And that's why we still need like PlayStationLibrary.com and afew.games, like these websites that collected for us. And
not only do we need that, we need more. We need so many more.
Oh yeah.
There's still something better. I don't know what it is, but like it just feels like there's a better something out there.
I know people don't like when I say this. Every other hobby has this figured out, and it makes video game collecting feel like such a small hobby. You will get these people who are like, video game collecting is huge. Tons of people collect video games. None of them are serious. And I'm not saying like being a serious video game collector is like a real thing, but there is a very, very serious element to collecting trading cards or comics, where people like have these amazing, incredible analytics tools and like variant database and things like that. And I'm complaining about it like, oh, Tyler, you're just complaining. You're not part of the solution. Like, I don't have time. I have a 3-hour podcast to record, but I think this hobby is small, Johnny. And I think maybe in 40 years, it might be some VHS stuff. We might be the VHS people. We're definitely going to be the Atari people. You guys don't think the NES people are the Atari people? Go ask a Zoomer if they have played Banjo-Kazooie. Let me know what they say.
They'll probably say no.
They'll probably say
yes.
But they'll ask me like, have you played Doodle Jump? I don't know. What does Zoomers play? Johnny?
Doodle Jump is what? God, Doodle Jump is what, like 15 years old now?
I love the idea that there's like this golden age of mobile games, because I do see like people reminiscing about like Fruit Ninja and Doodle Jump and Cut the Rope. Like they're like, these were like the formative mobile games of people's childhoods, like Angry Birds. And now it's just all this stupid microtransaction shit. They used to know how to make a mobile game, which I guess is kind of right.
You know, my son right now is currently playing Plants vs. Zombies. He's like learning that. And it just like, it makes me think of that era of games. You're just like, man, remember when Plants vs. Zombies was just like the thing? Like, it didn't start out as a mobile game, but then you got it on mobile and you're like, yeah, I can play Plants vs. Zombies anywhere. Amazing. Then they made Plants vs. Zombies 2, and that was too much for me.
I forgot if they updated Plants vs. Zombies. I know we're so off topic right now, but they updated Plants vs. Zombies, or they made Plants vs. Zombies 2. Because I remember I played the original Plants vs. Zombies on PC. I just got like the regular version of it.
Me
and it's
too.
like a fun game, and you play it for 10, 15 hours or whatever, and you beat it. And then it was either the mobile version or an update to the mobile version. It might have been Plants vs. Zombies 2, where they so clearly made it like a forever treadmill type game. And it's like, oh no, PopCap, what are you doing? Like, you have turned this into like this evil enterprise, what used to be this delightful, normal video game.
It's part 2, I know, because my wife is, she was on that treadmill. My son's playing it, and then she just started booting up Plants vs. Zombies 2. And I'm like, honey, we got you off that. Like, step away. Don't do this to yourself again. But she loves Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, my wife was on the train too. Now she's just on Pokemon Go, which, I don't know, something like Pokemon Go is bad in terms of just like addictive qualities being a mobile game. But there's something about like the level based one where you're like walking up the screen to different levels, but there's like 10 trillion levels and it's impossible to beat them. That feels more insidious. Like Pokemon Go, it's like, all right, you're catching them all. It doesn't feel like you're like making progress up a thing towards something that you'll never reach. I realize it is still putting you on infinite treadmills and getting you into FOMO with daily events and all that kind of stuff, but something about those treadmill games is just insidious.
Yeah, and it's too bad because I do think it is delightful. And now my son, he just looks at me and he'll be like, "The zombies are coming," and I just think that's hilarious. I'm just like, hooray, bud. All right.
Final Fight CD, I hope that answers your question about social media.
Yeah. Are we doing any more? Is that it? You want to just keep it to one?
Tom Nook asks, based on the name alone, what's the best title for a video game and what is the worst?
That's
a hard one to do off the spot, so I'm just going to say what pops in my head. Shining in the Darkness pops into my head as my favorite video game title. I think that's such a cool name. Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people popped into my head. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's notable.
Good. I love that it's so big and clunky and dumb.
Yeah, it used to be like the longest, like in like collecting lists and stuff like that. It used to be the longest, and now there's like other ridiculous, stupid long titles that are just like meant to be long and stupid. And then I think the worst one that pops into my head, and this is a really recent one, there's probably a worse one, is Various Daylife.
Oh man, there's so many like JRPGs that have dumbass names, but what is it? It's on the Nintendo, isn't it? Like NFL, football NFL or something. It's got like a really clunky title. It makes it hard to search. But besides that, I'm gonna go with D as the worst, stupidest name of any video game because searching for, I don't even want to say the phrase searching for D because that just conjures all kinds of other things. But yeah, if you're searching for D, good luck? Question mark?
I think it would probably take you Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days to search for D, Johnny. All right, that's our show. Johnny, what are you buying? What are you playing?
Tyler, I am buying something, and it's not Halloween, but man, I was excited when I found this. I was so excited. I sent you a picture before I had even won to tell you I was bidding on it. I got Are You Afraid of the Dark or Feo's Curse in big box, Tyler. I did it. I found the big box. So for those of you who don't know about this dumb game, I did a video on Instagram during Halloween, and we talked about it during the Halloween episode. But at some point, they just stripped the game of its big box and put a barcode on the game itself. So, which tells me they either just kept producing the jewel case or they destroyed the big boxes just to get the jewel cases out, right? Or just decided somewhere in the production run they didn't want to do that. So it was very hard. I couldn't even find like good pictures of the big box anywhere. The only reason I could confirm that there was a big box is because on WorthPoint, of all stupid places, I found a jewel case with the big manual. I'm like, okay, the big manual is here. So that means it had to have a big box to fit this big stupid manual it had. Finally, one showed up out of Canada. and I bought it. I did it.
I'm so proud of you. This is a Nickelodeon FMV horror game.
Myst-like.
I guess you could call it like Myst, yes. I've heard it described. The only time I've ever seen anyone bring this up, they brought it up in the same breath as Realms of the Haunting, another obscure FMV adventure game on PC, which I guess is a good endorsement of the game, because that's similar to Resident Evil.
So this game, it is kind of well reviewed. I'm not saying it's great, but like generally positive reviews for it. It does take place like within the season of the show, so it's like contained within the television lore, and even the disc version only with the barcode still is fetching like $30 to $40. So yeah, finding this one, I mean, I paid $100 for it and was happy to get it. I wasn't happy to pay $100 because I was hoping it was one of those things that would just like get listed and no one would care, but someone knew that it was a thing, and they got my money. They did it, Tower.
Wow.
And
everyone
what am I playing?
is going to be so jealous.
No one. It's like the dumbest thing. It's like you're worried someone else is going to get it. No one's looking for this trash. It's like dumb shit that you're in your own rabbit hole about. But there might be that one guy who's also in that rabbit hole. Anyways, I played Diablo because the new season of Diablo came out. And
I'm getting
people are
worried.
mad about
you
it.
seem like you're never going to stop playing Diablo, which...
Do you want... I play with my friend. It's a thing we do at night after the kids go to bed. We play Diablo. So that's how that happens.
There are more games. Johnny, you have a backlog. You got to get a crunch through that backlog.
I'm not... this is literally just hanging out with my friend. I asked, I'm like, hey, you want to move over to Baldur's Gate? And he's like, no, I'm still kind of into this. Diablo 2 is by far his all-time favorite game ever. Hands down. You know, he loves that game a lot. And he's not like a huge video gamer, but you know, he played a lot as a kid and stuff. But Diablo 2 is his nostalgia machine, like that and Smash Brothers. So
has he gone down the Path of Exile rabbit hole?
He does not. He doesn't have time for that, and like he barely has time for Diablo. But he just loves Diablo so much he found time. So I literally, like, we don't even talk via headset. We just, because it's just us two calling, it's easier for us to call and just put it on speaker and set our phones next to us and chit chat.
I can just, if I was like your kid, Johnny, I would make fun of my dad who calls his friend on the fucking phone.
Oh, I know.
And doesn't use Discord or voice chat in the game.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't know about the voice chat in the game or Discord. Clearly, I know about all these things. And it's not like we were doing that back in WoW. Like, what was the chat thing you had to use in WoW back in the day?
Ventrilo?
Yeah, Ventrilo, exactly. So it's like, and he was on that with me for a little while, so it's like we know how to do that. But for this, for whatever reason, like we just say, "Oh, you ready?" And he calls me. He's like, "All right, let's go blast Nightmare Dungeons." It's like, "All right, let's do it."
I was about to say, for any younger listeners listening to this, before Discord, you might have to imagine like voice chat was actually like a hassle and kind of garbage.
Yeah.
But then I remembered, just think of like Switch Online, like that.
Yeah. So also I'm playing on I prefer this actually because I'm playing on my couch and I don't want to have to wear a big wireless headset. I hate wearing a headset and I hate putting in earbuds actually. I just like my ears clean. So yeah, just laying my phone down on speaker. I don't have anything messing with my head or my ears. I can just, chat down
Two
at
dads
the phone.
Talking to each other on speakerphone.
Yep, and it's cute because his kids are my god kids, and my kid is his god kid, and our wives are best friends. So like, they can just join the chat if they want.
I feel like this is a failure of technology. If the best way for you to talk to your friend while playing a video game is to freaking call them on the phone and put it on speakerphone, like technology has failed.
I think
there must be a better way.
I think technology is forgotten because they're like, oh, everyone just put on a headset. Not everyone loves to like throw on a headset or have shit on their ears or
Go
in
get a
their
Wii
ears.
Speak speaker. There's just a speaker you stick on top of your TV. It's a Wii Speak. You can play Animal Crossing City Folk with your buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I have that sealed though, so I don't want to open it. You understand?
Okay, I do too, actually. Good investment.
Yeah. Super good.
Of the Animal Crossing games, I think everybody is eventually going to come back to the big box Animal Crossing City Folk sealed.
Yeah, I think so. I don't buy the Animal Crossing cards. Definitely get that Wii Speak. Anyways, Tyler, that's what I bought, and that's what I played, and that's how I played it. What about you?
Johnny, I beat AD&D Pool of Radiance on the NES.
Woo!
And man, that is a long video game. I was so ready to give this like a semi-good review here on the Collector's Quest. Because it really feels like playing a low-level D&D campaign, which is really cool because so many games, like in Baldur's Gate 3, like halfway through the game, I'm already like talking to gods and like killing like their spawns. Like I'm a level 8 guy and I'm like killing these things that are summoned by a literal god. It's ridiculous. In Pool of Radiance is amazing. There's like a small kobold cave nearby that you have to clear out, and like you're in a town and it wants to like expand, but the slums are taken over by like monsters, and you gotta like deal with the monsters. It's like, yeah, this is like level 1 stuff. I'm just like dealing with this tiny little town. It doesn't even have like regional consequences what I'm dealing with. And I was having so much fun, and then the game overstayed its welcome. I like 25 hours. So Wizardry 2, a game with literally 5 levels, and that's it, is still my recommendation there. But then I went and bought, because I spent so much, this is what happened, this is what I do, because I spent so much time with that, I went and looked at my copy of Pool of Radiance, which I must have bought in like 2007, and whatever it was the wrong version. So I went and I bought the Apple II version, and I bought the first print PC version. I bought 2 different versions of Pool of Radiance. I bought the 3 Might and Magic games, and I also got Wizardry 7, Johnny, for $10 whole.
You did it.
Yeah, some of these games, like, man, and like Pool of Radiance, like an all-timer. I think it might be the first D&D game, like the first real like AD&D game that tries to follow AD&D rules. And like, I bought this Apple II 100% complete. It's got like the code wheels, all the inserts, and I bought it from one of these guys that's like an Apple II reseller, Skeezer8U63. You will see him, like he has so much Apple II shit for really high prices. You'll see him pop up. It was $40. This is like a historically important game. I got a good version of it complete, and it cost nothing. No one wants this shit, and it's like exactly what I wanted. And there are still people who complain that video game collecting is expensive. It's so cheap. Getting the good stuff is so cheap. I love video game collecting, Johnny. It's the best. This isn't just some like checkbox set filler. This game is fucking cool. And you can get it for $40. It's like historically important. Oh, I love video game collecting.
Hard to imagine it getting better than that, Tyler.
And then I bought a review copy of SimCity 1.0 because I forgot if I think I have a review copy, but this was the Amiga 1.0 version. Very strange because I think the first release of SimCity was on the Macintosh and the Amiga is where you'll find the 1.0 version. The Macintosh version is rare. I've seen a few Amiga versions. I have a review copy, but I don't think it's the Amiga version. So now I got another review copy of SimCity. I don't know why these aren't like super rare. I've seen a few of them around, but I don't know. I love SimCity. I'd put it on the all-timer list. It's a game that defined a genre. If you see someone like playing a city management game, you'll be like, oh yeah, SimCity.
It's true. I told you, I think I've told you on this podcast, as a matter of fact, I had to play a SimCity game and a Sim Earth game in a technology class back in the early 90s. So that's how advanced
like
I
when
thought
SimCity?
SimCity was. Yeah. Yes, I've just been around that long. It's, like at one point people thought we should put this in schools, which I think is hilarious.
I mean, it's a good kind of fake educational game like Oregon Trail. It's a good one to throw on those school computers.
No, this was for a technology class.
I mean, that's sure. I mean, you got to keep those kids engaged. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. It was Nevada. It was the early 90s. They didn't know. They didn't know what was happening.
Johnny, it's a simulation. It's not a video game. It's an actual simulation. These computers are amazing. They do really cool stuff. Let me tell you about Bitcoin, how we could process all our transactions on a transparent blockchain. It's going to change everything.
Okay.
Check out my video game. It's just Hearthstone, but every time you make a turn, it makes a blockchain transaction, and you have to pay 7 cents. It's so much better than Hearthstone. Let me tell you about real ownership, Gianni. This is real asset ownership.
I'd like to talk about something else now.
If you want me to respond, I'm going to have to add this to the blockchain, and you're going to have to pay me 7 cents.
I feel trapped.
I think that's it, Johnny. That's
we did it.
We did it.
Hey, we did it, and we didn't totally shit on modern games for once, Tyler. Congratulations.
It was hard. The pre-roll for this episode, there was just like a dark period of like 20 minutes where we stopped talking to each other because we were trying to figure out how to get Tyler through this episode without shitting on modern games.
Yeah.
Because collecting The Last of Us doesn't always get me excited. It gets me excited how cheap it is. I'm always excited for how affordable good video games are. I forgot what game we found.
It was
Wii
got
Sports.
Me excited, though. It was
Wii Sports. That's really the one, because I think that's a game that literally everyone can go upgrade their copy of Wii Sports, except like the crazy people who bought like a sealed. So no, there's no crazy people who bought a sealed Wii at launch, because you couldn't even get Wiis at launch. No one went into Walmart and bought 2 Wiis because you could only get one Wii, and no one had a Wii for like a year. So everyone can upgrade their copy of Wii Sports.
Yeah, and those, like, because the Wii was doled out the way it was, I wonder if there's a way to tell if you've got the first print.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, you did. You told us the serial number on the back to look for.
Oh, yeah. The first print of Wii Sports, definitely. I don't know about the first print of the Wii, but I'm sure there's a way to tell.
Well, that's why I'm curious. Like, on the console, like, because that's the real box for the game. So.
God damn. I mean, it is. I kind of agree.
It's such a Tyler thing to say, and to have you be like, oh, I don't know. And there's 100% a Tyler thing to say. Anyways, that's it for the show. Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening to us. If you like this kind of ridiculous talk and you want to talk to other ridiculous individuals, then join our Discord, which you can do by getting to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/collectorsquest for $2 or $4. $2 gets you in the door. $4 gets you the bonus content. Which, Tyler, did you release the latest After Dark, or is that coming this week?
No, it's coming soon.
Coming soon. TBD.
Sitting on my desktop, I just haven't uploaded because I'm lazy.
And we talk about whatever there. So if that's not your jam, don't worry about it. Anyways, that's it for the show, and that's it for these ads. So thanks so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think we missed, though, because I want to know. I'm sure there's like people out there shouting that we missed the best, biggest modern game of all time. Tell us how we missed Fortnite. I get it. Anyways, do that.
We didn't even talk about that. But yeah, you can say your bye. But
yeah.
So like Minecraft, there's not a good version, and like Fortnite, I feel like personally, the ones people are paying $1,000 for sealed, I don't think those are the Fortnite that actually matters. Just like it's like a Roblox gift card. But that's the only reason I didn't include it. I was really considering putting on Minecraft.
Anyways, like I said, that's it for the show. Tell us on Instagram, or me on Instagram, not Tyler, because you can only find him on Discord. You can find me on Discord or Instagram or Video Game Sage occasionally. That's it for the show. Thanks so much. Bye!